Hello, everyone.
Hello.
We just saw the trailer. It was a trailer.
I really did leave that for an awkward pause.
Yeah.
Yep, there's a trailer. There is a trailer. They take the 5 most recognizable characters of the expansion and they present them in the trailer.
There are, in fact, characters in there, and they say things, and it's kind of along the lines of...
I'm going to get you!
Yeah.
I'm going to get you!
And then Xalatath has a statement, and then does a duck face at the end.
She linearly interpolates her way into a pose. It's just the way that, like, Xalatath's looking, you know, straight, like, dead at the camera, and then, like, you know, you can see the little... You can see the playhead move on, like, just the linear curve on her keyframe. I mean, it's probably not like that, but yeah, it does look a bit duck face. And there's other faces too. There's some sort of Zoolander face that I think all the Zoomers are into now.
Really?
I think they're all
have
into
they watched
that, yeah.
Zoolander? It's about time.
Or something like that. I mean, I don't really understand it. So there was a trailer called Shadow and Fury. Urgh.
Which
Fury.
I really don't know what's going on. Like, in general, because I was away for a while, but also
Matt
I really
has got
don't
dementia.
know. I really don't know, because Shadow, like...
Yeah, but you can know. Here's what's good though.
Yeah.
You can hear Chris Metzen say it, and he goes Shadow and Fury. Urgh.
Yeah, but, like, Illyria, she's not furious yet. We haven't seen her be furious yet. There's a wee bit of fury, a wee bit angry at the illusion of Tartalian in the Dark Arc quest line. But otherwise it's like, it's alright. Where's the fury? Really... And then Anduin's not fury. He's in sad boy hours still, will be forever. And Thrall was furious, but only for like a second, purely in the cinematic.
Thrall, yeah. He resembled like me trying to learn how to whistle. I can't whistle. And like sometimes I can make just a little bit of a... No, I can make like a little bit of a whistling noise, and then I lose it. And then I punch the ground and destroy all the rocks because I'm an orc. So yeah, Thrall, and that you know what, we can just do that topic now, the whole topic of Thrall's lost his connection to the elements again.
Well, I think it's different this time.
Yeah,
to be completely serious, I think it's slightly different. I think he's lost the connection to the elements in the, you know, like where on the chain is it broken? It's broken at the element end, not at his end.
Yeah, not at the
Whereas
Thrall
he
end.
was always like, metaphor for certain men getting older problems aside, you know, all of those things from then. It's like, yeah, he just doesn't have it anymore, you know?
Are you telling me? Are you telling me that's what it's been about?
Yes.
Is that what he...
I assume so.
Did he throw his dick into Deepholm and then we picked it up and used it as a weapon for Legion? Is that the analogy we're rolling with here?
Possibly, yes.
Very good.
I think so. Anyway, yeah.
Well,
he needs to hop on TRT.
It playing out that way works better.
Yeah, I think like...
There's been a lot of fear online. It's like, oh my god, they're doing the same thing with Thrall for the 3rd time. But yeah, if it is something's changed and now he can't get them because the thing has changed, then that makes sense with Radiant Song. Makes sense with Magni. Magni, not happy being a stone. Not enjoying the stony life.
Yeah, which was, you know, there's no... Like, he did a little fisty grab thing and bits fell off. Which, you know, you might want to get that looked at.
That's pretty worrying.
Yeah, so... I don't know. As far as trailers go, I think they could have done... Like, they had an idea. They had some sort of, like, goal in mind. And I don't know how it really manifested all that well. Yes, please. Turn me around a little bit. Oh, I'm perfect. Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. Totemic dysfunction. That's perfect. No, that's a little bit too much. I think I don't really know what to think about it. That
line won't do.
Perfect.
That's a bit better.
I'd throw on the trailer, but there's no point because there's nothing really of any value said. It's like a vibe setting up thing.
It's a vibe trailer. There are some nice images. Some very nice images.
Oh, it's very pretty. It's a very, very, very pretty trailer. 100%. It's like visually beautiful. It's just like you could have a trailer with some punch that actually meant something to the plot of the story or something. I don't know. We live in a world now. We live in a world where the trailers aren't what they how do I describe it? Should be. They're just all made up nonsense now. They're either the whole thing condensed in 40 seconds so you don't have to watch the movie or play the game, or it's some incoherent nonsense that doesn't actually apply to anything because it was outsourced to someone. Not that I think it is in this case, but I'm just talking about trailers like on in general.
Yeah. Like Furiosa, Furiosa, apparently, like really good movie. Trailer ass.
I could not believe that trailer. Because I've seen people
right?
talk about how like good the movie is. I'm like, I'd love to go see it in my movie theater
Babe
before
2,
it
Pig
dies.
in the City from the man who made it. Let's go.
Yeah, but then the trailer's fucking.
The trailer is just like, be excited. I still think,
show me why. Show me why, please.
The Alien trailer, the original Alien trailer. I still think that's one of the best.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Oh, it's good. It's it's a good ass trailer. So yes, Shadow and Fury happened. What do we really learn? Nothing. Not really. I suppose their challenge in that was to do a vibe trailer, ending with a duck face, in which each character got 1 to 2 lines, maybe 3, to sort of explain their deal very quickly. And that is what they did.
Fantastic work.
And I think it's the sort of thing that wouldn't really land with us because, we know this and have known it for ages, but it is probably the sort of thing that hits different to a broad audience.
Are you saying we're out of touch, Michael?
Absolutely.
Is that what you're saying?
Matt, we are horrendously out of touch.
I know.
Completely.
I know. Don't remind me.
Completely. I mean, it's insane. Like, I thought the Prophet Velen died in Warlords of Draenor. I go to Exodar and I see him. I go to Orgrimmar and I see Sylvanas and Garrosh and Thrall.
Pretty big plot
by
holes,
which,
those.
Yeah, exactly. Preach still thinks Thrall uses the Doombringer. Which is just to say, like, yeah, a lot of people don't have really much of a clue what's going on, and in many ways, it's not really their fault. Both by like a function of time, like it's both delivery and time. So like, Magni turning into a rock is still in my recent memory, but unfortunately, everyone, that happened 14 years ago, right? So there's a lot of stuff that they need to reintroduce. All of the Magni stuff, like him, the Heart of Azeroth and the Chamber of the Heart. Like, okay, if you didn't play Legion pre-patch questline, there you go. You just didn't get the setup for that. You just didn't get it, right? Like, there's a lot that so many people won't know. So I think in a trailer like that, what they have to do is, it says Shadow and Fury, and someone's like, oh boy damn, I love Shadow and I love Fury. I'm going to click on this. And then by the end, they're like, oh, look at those pretty images. I know what these people want. And I think it accomplished that mission. It's just it's tricky to market the story of WoW. It's really tricky. Because, you have to start being like, oh, now, wait a second. What if God was actually a big blue man who lied to you?
I mean,
which to all of us is fine because we have this like big, encyclopedic knowledge. But given that like a lot of WoW's growth has ended up being off the back of like Mythic Plus, Race to World First, and then just like the casual intake of people, where, I mean, I don't know what they think Chromie time is. Sure, Night Stalker.
Blizzard don't know what Chromie time is.
Night Stalker hangs out in our Discord, because he does the mentor chat thing. There's just these times where he's like, oh yeah, I was doing mentor chat this day, and this person had no idea about that. And it's like basic stuff. It reminds me of the time I was leveling an old hunter in Tanaris way back, and I just saw a level 54 person who didn't have a pet. The petless hunter. And I asked them, they're like, wait, what? You can have a pet? Granted, this is like over 10 years. This is probably like 16 years. Shit. This is 16 years ago. But that's still happening. I don't know how this hunter like completely missed the you can have a pet bit of playing a hunter, but they did. They did.
The game never tells you.
Like, yeah, the pet quest, but other than that.
Yeah, the game never tells you. And by that, I mean the game never puts a neon sign on the middle of your screen, pauses your game and says, you cannot continue further until you acquire a pet. Which is, that's how video games work.
Why do I feel like there's a lot of people at Ubisoft who have never been allowed out of the cage, and this is their entire job. Their entire job is just, oh dear God, oh no, we have to put a marker on everything. Yeah. Anyway, and then Xalatath. I mean, for a lot of people, maybe they played Legion. Like, you can play Legion and not know what Xalatath is. Actually, I've had multiple comments of people saying, could you explain who Xalatath is? Where does Xalatath come from?
That's so painful to me.
But it's so easy to miss.
I know, obviously.
So imagine you played Paladin, and you played all the content, right? You have your class mount, you got completely tricked out in Legion. The only time you saw Xalatath is maybe if it was floating about whenever Magni was doing the big slurp from the sword. And then you never saw Xalatath again. Now, until maybe BFA, but a lot of people did not see the patch 10.1.5 quests. Blizzard even, because during BFA, they were not really in full, we're going to own our L's mode. But like I think it was after the fact, they admitted like, yeah, you know, our storytelling wasn't clear and things got really confusing towards the middle. The thing is, the bit in the middle was Xalatath. So I completely understand how these people, you know, were able to say to me, oh, who's Xalatath? What's going on? Yeah, I could completely understand how, let's just say you're playing a Paladin, that's the only thing you play, you do most of the story. Maybe you miss the game for a few weeks. You don't watch lore videos. You have no idea. And then, like, everyone was going big coom during Dragonflight, because they're like, oh my God, a silhouette! The silhouette! The silhouette has the Dark Heart! I mean, it's so much more exciting than the Jailer has the sigils.
There's certainly a class division issue with World of Warcraft storytelling.
Oh boy.
So say next Argo, where's the lore tab? Do you think a lore tab would help?
Oh,
That's optional reading.
They're definitely doing something like that.
Yeah, but it's optional reading.
Like, in my interview, Holly was so like, I can't say anything, but yes, we have plans.
People don't read.
We want to, they want to do something.
People don't read the quest text they put in the game. Why are they? Who's going to read a lore tab?
Well, Matt, there was this modding team a few years ago. They did something called WoW Tales, and
Is that so?
Yeah, it was pretty incredible. You were able to go through the Elven Forest using WoW Tales, without reading anything. It was all It was all voice acted. It's a project we did, and then Blizzard's lawyers went kaput. So yes, we got rather slammed by that. I mean, it was like a pleasant slamming. So, it was a pleasant slamming. It was fine. But what at least I feel like we did learn doing that was how do you communicate the story to the player? And I have to be honest with you, I still think we did it better than they do.
Well, of course, they are terrible at it and have always been terrible at it.
It's just that, so the way that we would do it, we'd always be trying to focus on like what characters are with the player, even if they are not necessarily, maybe a character is nearby the player. So, whenever you're killing the wolves at the start of Elwyn, like you've got McBride shouting some encouragement at you. Go
get those damn wolves, you fucker! Kill that bastard! Knife that shithead's throat, go! Stuff like that, yeah.
Yeah. So, the way, like, as you go through it, and when it is the best in WoW, and it's something they did in Legion when you were picking up some runes in Suramar. You pick up a rune, and then you get a little bit of story from, like, an audio log. So we were just trying to do things like that, and it led to a zero reading experience with a really minimal, because the other thing you can't do is just say, stand there and listen. That sucks. It sucks to play in a game like this. So we sort of did all that. We made custom dialogue triggers. So like we could play our audio at basically anything, anytime we wanted with all of the triggers that we had developed.
I want to disagree with you slightly, Because you say you can't stand still and listen. But I know something that World of Warcraft does that is almost worse. The amount of times they give you a voiceover in the middle of combat, and there's no form of audio mixing that happens in the game, no attenuation.
Oh, yeah.
So you just have someone delivering relatively stiff and dry dialogue while you're smashing all your buttons, and you hear a billion sound effects at once, especially when doing a quest on like the fresh like day.
I'm
that
pretty
it's out,
sure
and there's 800 billion noises screaming at you, and you don't hear anything, and you have no way to hear it back.
It was
whatsoever.
in the plan at a point, but we wanted to do a delay if you were in combat for certain things, so the dialogue would only trigger after combat.
Yeah, that's what like it needs a way to, and this is where people are like, no, but you have to, you can't slow down like gameplay or combat or whatever. And those really long walking and talking scenes that are boring as shit in a bunch of AAA games? Those are there for a reason, because if you give people something to do while they're listening, they're not going to listen. They just won't. Maybe some will.
I think the problem
but
is
a lot of people
in a lot of the AAAs, that's them using the sledgehammer. They're using the sledgehammer, which is, I suppose, a big stick with metal in the end. Maybe there's another form of carrot that can do the job.
But you can't just say, while you're doing all your gameplay, we'll narrate to you, because that also doesn't work.
Well,
you have to find something somewhere in the middle that's a bit more appropriate.
It was a design risk in some parts of Pill Beyond for the guys where, there'd be people who they'd say dialogue to a character and they wouldn't understand. Like, they're like, why did you not like that? And from our perspective, it's like, did you pay it?
Did you read?
Yeah, because like if you just go click, 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 and you don't know how that character thinks and what that character's perspective is in the world, then you won't be able to engage in dialogue with that character in a way that will allow you to get the results that you want, right? Like you have to have that. It's like the EQ angle, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, requiring EQ or IQ in a video game for a broad audience is very, very, very challenging.
And that is why the 0.1% of Diablo players make builds, and the rest of us just enter them, get high, listen to World War II documentaries, and hurt their back. That's what I did last week.
I have a funny feeling you're talking about someone in specific.
Yeah, someone, Matt. Someone who may be in this very room.
Oh, God, where is he? Where's the idiot? Where's the fucking moron so I can kill him? Anyway.
Please.
Yes, so I think...
Which is to say, that's why you need a vibe trailer like that.
Yeah, but a better one.
I think big
one that
picture,
actually leads into the story.
Do you know where Blizzard probably did this better than most places they've ever done? An expansion of amazing cooking, but unfortunately they didn't finish. They just didn't finish the job.
Warlords of Draenor.
Yeah, it's the WoD intro. And I know that people, people would eye roll it. Oh my God, I'm doing the WoD intro for the 55th time. Well, number one, compare that to the Legion intro,
yeah,
the BFA intro, or heaven forbid, the Maw. So, like, if you think about the WoD intro, it was snappy, right? It was snappy. Most of the time when there was protracted dialogue, your characters were running to the next point in their journey because the whole thing was an escape. And because it was an escape, you didn't have that thing that some people find immersion breaking in the West Wing, where, in the West Wing, everyone's just fucking walking. Everyone's just walking, having a conversation. And it does mean that, like, a lot of the show feels, like, really dynamic. But then people are, I think it was even my dad, he was like, why do they just not sit down?
Gotta get their steps in, bro. Gotta get their steps in every day of the week.
Yeah, I just think the WoD one was near perfect, and a lot of like the little things that we did were like very aligned to the WoD intro thing. And you look at the really good parts of WoD. I mean, something it usually goes broad in terms of you can do side quests and adventure about, but then what WoD did a good job of was tightening in.
Yeah, it was
to maybe
watch
give you a
the goddamn
cinematic, give you some. Yeah, and those cinematics were a good. They were a properly done cinematic where it's like, why is there a cinematic? Because we cannot show this to you in the game.
Because an event has occurred.
Whereas, these days in a lot of games, it's just cinematic that, cinematic. I even remember I was watching the Mandalore gaming review of Homeworld 3. Oh my God, what did they do? do? What do they do with that? What do they do with that story? Oh, dearie me. Dear me. 14 writers in the credits for Homeworld 3 story.
That's a lot of writers.
Too many cooks. But it's probably multiple troops of cooks being, rotated through multiple versions of the game, which was almost certainly in utter development hell. So, that's
the industry classic.
The industry classic. Where WoW has got an opposite. Well, no, it's had similar problems, but in some ways WoW's got an opposite problem, where it is... You have all of those teams, but instead of writing over each other's work, they're all just making non-conflicting work in parallel. And then they filled up 4 zones.
Yeah.
And that's why WoW has that phenomenon of pre-expansion, pre-expansion story, first zone, stuff happens, there's cultural explorations, then the end of the campaign at max level, and then the story actually starts with the patches.
Yeah, you're like, where's my story? Where's my story in the expansion?
And
that's not in the expansion.
And that's all because
it?
If you want to make, say, 20 hours of mostly linear narrative content, it's extremely hard to parallelize that without it just turning into total slop.
Skill issue.
There you go. In the words of Ian Hazzikostas himself.
Absolute and utter skill issue. It's an issue of they don't
We need to put that.
They don't want to do that.
What do you call them?
Soundboard, yeah.
A sound bonker. That's the one.
Yeah, sound bunker.
Yeah, you bonk it and then.
What sort of Mandela effect hell is this? From
I
a
don't know.
different world, everything's called worse things. But yeah, I think like the trailer, people are like, yeah, the trailer was fine. It just didn't really do anything of any note. You like, what's the story of the expansion? Zaltath's there, I guess.
It was it was vibe and recap.
Yeah.
And I suppose that's so hard with video game trailers. I think video game trailers are genuinely much harder than film trailers because
easy.
I edited all of the trailers for The Pale Beyond. That was fun. Very fun. They're hard because, between you'll be talking with, people in the team and the publisher, and you're like, okay, we need to hit all these story beats in our trailer, but we want it to be 90 seconds, but we need to show mechanics because people probably want to see mechanics. But how do we do that without breaking the flow? So it's hard, and I guess that's why this is a vibe and recap. And I think as a vibe and recap, people will probably see a bunch of characters who broadly look pretty cool, but the duck face won't land at the end.
Maybe it will. Yeah, it's we have it. We have it here somewhere.
The thing is,
we got told about it. Yes, here we go.
It looks like a face app. Those face app flipping memes people do.
Let me just make sure this works. It does indeed. No, it doesn't. That's okay.
Zalatath has went full basic. Let's go.
Cool. 1 second while I solve this issue of that's the frozen on the window from last week. Instead of the actual
last
one.
week's news today. Eat your heart out, Elliot Carver.
Fantastic. And there we go. We have there we go.
Because the face looks really cool. And then it's like you can see the point in the timeline where it just almost linearly she transforms into the duck.
Yeah.
It's great.
It does kind of look a little bit like a face app.
It does look like a face app. But the thing is, right, in isolation, it's good. Like, the screenshots are good. I think it's just the motion.
Yeah, so, now that I said, I'm like, yeah, that actually looks fine to me.
Do you know what it is? There's no micro expressions. That's it. There's no micro expressions to sell her being idle. That's probably... right. That's actually real interesting, because that's a problem that they're going to have with their...
fucking Sonic grin.
Like, these real, like, top quality assets. So if you look at the thing that was really, like, I think pretty astounding, and considering it's, the Anduin Thrall cinematic for this expansion, like, the thing that sells that's the micro expressions. And just the tiny little twitches. So when a character is totally in idle, their face is doing something. I think for Zalatath, it's just that it's movement within her face that's not a primary animation. So it means that she goes from, my face is perfectly still,
Yeah, something like that anyway. Something like that.
Which, in fairness, right? I mean,
These are some beautiful screenshots.
oh yeah.
And then Jaina for the crack.
I love it.
I don't really know
She just
why
Jane's
she's
like
here.
Jane's like, Sunday morning. I need to go out for a walk. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to ascend my tower and brood. She's just standing up there. Oh, you fuckers.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's just like. Oh, what's the dialogue? The dialogue whenever it cuts to Jaina.
Do you ever just
Oh
stare
yeah.
ominously?
For Jaina, right? The line Xalatath says when we're looking at Jaina is, "You revel in power that cannot withstand what is to come." That's it.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
What is to come?
Yeah.
First, we saw it in the trailer for June 2. No,
We did.
sorry. First, Zoval said it. And then Timothy Chalmette.
Of course, yes.
Someone's going to think I really say it like that. And now Jaina. What does it mean, bros? What does it mean? So yeah, I revel in power. I just love the idea. Like, Jaina just goes up her tower and just says, you know what? I'm going to have a good revel.
I'm so fucking strong up here, boys.
My staff. I am the sea.
Look at the glow off my fucking staff, boys. I'm so strong. Holy shit. You're like, but that's not really part of her character.
I am wearing my only pair of clothes.
But that's
That
not
doesn't make sense.
their arc.
No, if
Like,
I start
hinting-
explaining that, I'll get into J.K. Rowling levels of like, oh, the wizards just shit in the floor and teleport it somewhere else.
That's world building. I love it.
That's the best world building I've ever seen.
Unironically. Anyway, yeah, like, it is very, very pretty. It is kind of weird. You see the differences in, like, facial detailing pretty clearly here. Where Illyria looks very Fortnite. Anduin looks substantially less Fortnite.
Anduin looks class.
Because of the gradation on his skin and stuff, and like all the texture, he looks like he's kind of. They kind of don't look like they're from the same game.
I think it's because, you know,
They look very different.
no, I think it's Illyria's skincare regime. She hasn't aged a fucking second, like. Whereas look at Anduin. Look at this, like, 23-year-old man versus this. How old's Illyria?
Yes, I have no idea, but it's
Cheapers being a human's tragic.
Sure is.
Let's see. What's the age of Illyria? Okay, so this is a 2,800-year-old woman.
Fuck, not bad. Like,
Compared to
not bad.
a young, strapping 23-year-old lad.
Isn't this just
Oh, you're scrungly there, mate.
how women age, how men age? Easy, like, yeah. That's it. I mean, that's what happens whenever, you know, you have such a stress-free life. You know, Illyria had nothing to do for thousands of years except for, you know, fight the eternal war against the Legion. That was also time dilation that actually didn't really count for the 1,000 years of her life. Cool, nice, sweet.
Okay, if we were doing it for... I just want, like, Illyria to be covered in scars.
Yeah.
Just, like, covered in scars. Just, like, a chunk of her arm missing.
I mean,
You're like, I lost that back in the war.
We have to do the fantasy staple of no attack ever came close to her face.
Of course not.
But then, like, she, like, takes off, like, her robe and you see, like, the shot of her back and it's fucking torn. It's, like, torn to shreds. You need that shit. That's good. That's good. You're like, huh, you're very good at defending your face. Interesting. So why not, you know, the most of your body where all your organs are? No, it's fine. It's fine. It's all right. It's all right. Jaina again. Magni.
Magni's
Magni looks good. I like
yeah,
how it looks.
Magni's just like, I'm still a rock.
These hands.
No. I like Magni's story. I like how the Earthen are civilization mirroring it.
Yeah, I kind of like it.
I kind of like it, but I'm just a bit of a gun.
Honestly,
I'm just gonna have a grumble.
Yeah.
Is
I've become astoundingly cynical in the past 3 days.
Damn. Is
not
Magni
even true.
Magni just too IKR for you?
Absolutely. No, actually, I like Magni. I really like the way he looks.
He looks great. Yeah. The lighting's real nice. The Dark Heart looks really cool.
Oh yeah.
I wish my house keys could do that,
Oh yeah.
but apparently Nilfarians do.
They're all just chilling with a nice wee torn totem from 1,000 years ago. We see the elements. Only 3 of them.
Only 3?
Where's wind?
They've taken the wind
They
away.
forgot wind.
Storming Sea, shut down.
Yeah, they've got storm, earth, and fire here, but I think the storm's just the water. That's sad. That's sad. And then he's having
Oh
a
no.
meditate.
Oh no, it's gone soft. Rah! Smash!
Understandable. Again, you kind of go, okay, like that tells a decent bit of a story to a nobody. You're like, well, here's a man. He's an earth man, shaman man, looking totem stuff, whatever. The elements are there, and
we've got young man can't deal with his emotions. Old man dick broke.
Yeah.
Stony stoic man doesn't feel anything anymore and is sad.
Yeah.
We're hitting them all.
Man reads meditations once he's over, like, no, I don't love my family anymore. No. Oh, pain.
Yeah.
I really.
Oh yeah,
that's so pretty though.
Yeah, it is.
That's so pretty. Everything is pretty. So yeah, there's not really an awful lot
cutting analysis, Matt.
more to talk about because this was just, as we said, just vibes. It did a decent job of Xal'atath being like, haha, you're all fucking dancing under my puppet strings. But otherwise,
Well, it turned out she was being puppeted herself.
yeah, well, obviously. It's like, how deep does it go? You know, the old
I was just
meme
joking about animation.
All right, where are you? Fair enough. I thought you were doing a deep cut analysis of how Xal'atath's going to end up being the jailer.
What's she going to do next? Like, how does she hold the pose? Where does she go to, next? What's she thinking? What's the situation here? Who is she talking to? Is she just like, hey, camera, I'm going to fuck up these 5 people specifically?
She's monologuing by herself in her void basement in front of a mirror, practicing for when she sees us. You got to get the reps in.
Yeah.
Do you think villains just show up and can do all of that unprompted? They've got a script. They've got rehearsals. They've got everything. That's why her smile wasn't exactly perfect there.
We're referencing some K-pop here.
Almost. Are we?
I don't know.
Why are you saying that?
I looked at her smirk and I think it reminded me of the Pop Stars one from LOL.
Right, I see. Yes.
LOL, which unfortunately, Matt, I was forced to talk about today. Because would you like to celebrate Faker, one of the greatest gamers on Earth, with a $450 consumption?
$500 Irish skin,
yeah.
Yeah. Sound? Perfect. Oh, fine.
So there you go. It's Xal'atath. Mm-hmm. Good villain. I don't think they'll kill her. It'll be mad to kill her. Very mad.
Yeah, but also you have to kill Pete.
They just need to keep this up for like 4 expansions. So in the next expansion, they reuse all of the Xal'atath bits. They just slot in different characters. Be great.
That sounds good.
Yeah,
that sounds good.
So yes, that happened. Right.
That was the trailer.
We can now return to our regularly scheduled World of Warcraft. Sorry, I got confused. I looked at the new key art and I'm like, oh, that looks pretty. And then I'm like, oh no, we're gonna talk about Mob Remix,
Star Wars, baby.
And everyone's gonna think we're angry.
I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed.
Of aforementioned meditations.
No, I'm just disappointed.
Oh, damn.
I'm just disappointed. I have too many good things to look forward to be angry. But yeah, so Thursday. It's the 5th, Wednesday. That's 2 days from now. I thought it was small. Bingo card Mop mentioned. Mate, your bingo card's going to be fucking full by the time we're done.
The age of the alpha has fallen. Now begins the realm of the betas.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So we have the World Soul Saga actually just full on.
I'll tell you what this actually is.
It's actually just Star Wars.
Nobody knows what this really is. It's not Star Wars. It's not Star Wars. Do you know what it is, Matt?
I'm sure you will enlighten me. It
is the 1986 sci-fi musical Captain EO, starring Michael Jackson.
Are you putting me a little?
Though it doesn't have the little elephant man.
I'm gonna hit you with a nice try. You don't get full points.
I don't know if they did it.
This is also really funny.
But at one point, I did the generative fill downwards because I was using that image. So the handy thing with the Photoshop generative fill, which is one of those rare instances where the AI thing's actually useful and is used under license with your paid professional software from Adobe.
X.
And It did a really good job with the textures, dude. You basically couldn't tell. I gave me the willies. Anyway, so it's good. Xalatath Strikes Back. Oh dear. Sorry, I'm just thinking about all the other movie titles. So this is The Empire Strikes Back.
Yes.
You know what?
That's correct. Yeah.
You know what?
That's correct.
I watched the entire Jenny Nicholson video. I don't need to think about Kylo Ren anymore.
Has Kylo Ren got through any of this?
Because I thought about movies and I thought about Rise of Skywalker again, and then I thought about the intergalactic or the Galactic Star Cruiser experience sold by Disney and the 4-hour-long video from Jenny Nicholson that came out recently and set the internet on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You have ADHD.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes I just like to remind myself out loud that whenever you say something, I go, okay, that's fine. That's okay, that's fine. That's normal and okay.
All the best links are tenuous.
Absolutely. So yes, basically
How do you get
is the bid is happening now. And how do you get in? You
pay
pig.
Pay
You
pig.
throw your money at them.
Oink oink.
Oink oink, motherfucker. Yeah. It's here on the big money edition, the £75. That's probably what, like $150? No, I don't know. No, actually no pounds. $60? No, I think it's like 80, 85, 90.
Oh.
Something along those lines. I'm sure you can do the conversion. I'm sure it's on the store. I'm sure you've already paid for it. I'm sure you've already bought it because, of course, you don't only get your beta access.
Well, of course, we wouldn't be streaming to people who aren't true fans, Matt.
Of course, yes.
Yes.
And only, true fans give all of their money to their beloved corporation at all times.
And of course, because this is not included in the physical collector's edition, obviously true fans also do pre-order the digital collector's edition.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Indeed. So here you've also got, you've got your beta access, of course. So that'll be you this week. I believe the blog post does say immediate access, so you'll be straight in there. You also get 1,000 traders tender.
Oh my.
And also 3-day early access to War Within, which is a trend that I really want to see shot into fucking space. Across all the video games.
Yeah, but your one did it.
What do you mean my
Your
one did it?
Your MMO.
I know.
Yeah.
It's endemic and I want it gone.
Well,
I don't want
to do it at the source.
a load of fucking shitty people turn around and be like, we can just add 20, 30 quid to the price of our game because people want it early because of reasons.
Matt calls Yoshi P a shitty person.
Everyone who makes decisions like that, fucking terrible. Anyway.
Yeah, it's annoying. It sucks. It's there for everything now. Even like looking at Space Marine 2, which is coming out in September. It's doing quite a lot right. It actually turns out the World War Z people, they really seem to have ran a amazing value proposition game for like 4 years. But yeah, even that, like there's no cash shop in game. There's no premium currency. They are going to be doing content, post-launch. But yeah, and there's no battle pass. Just a season pass thing. Kind of like, the old days. And it still has that.
Yeah.
Which shows that this works.
Yeah, it works perfectly fine.
It works
and
well.
People aren't that mad about it. It's one of those things where, like, if I could go back in time and, kick whoever invented it in front of a bus, sure, right, absolutely. Not that I would ever do anything like that horribly. That's horrible. But, theoretically speaking.
It's okay. I don't think the feds can get you for temporal crimes.
Oh, boy. I don't know. I have seen the Minority Report and also all the other movies about temporal crimes. Like, was it Looper? Looper's going. I literally just,
there you go.
I was playing with you, going off little mind adventures. I just started thinking about Looper. To be fair, it is Looper. So yeah, you can get your bid opt-in if you don't want to give them your $800 billion. You can instead just wait like the pleb you are, and probably not get in because everyone's just going to buy this. So they'll likely have beta full enough, which is kind of interesting.
Do you know who the director of Captain EO is?
Okay.
Francis Ford Coppola.
Fantastic. Wonderful. So without another aside out of the way, you don't get bid access for the physical collector's edition.
Of course not.
Which is interesting.
Of course not, because Blizzard can't email you a code after you buy an edition on their digital store.
It's really terrible. How have we not solved this yet? How have we not solved you buy the thing and then we track that you buy the thing and we send you thing?
They ran out of credits in Zapier. That's clearly what happened. They
course
can't
it is.
afford it.
Yeah, it's dumb. It's extremely dumb.
Yeah.
Also, who knows? Like that's
It's very silly. Rep CS.
Yeah, that's
We're like,
a CS,
oh, great.
and who
Great.
knows if that's true.
I have absolutely nothing I can do to make your situation better, dear customer.
Yeah, unfortunate.
So
what's testable? Basically, all of the stuff that isn't the end game yet. That'll be a little bit later, I'm sure, because they'll want a whole new wave of people doing all of the thing to iron out all the bugs.
Yeah.
Because it was it was better than most alphas that I've played in WoW, which to be fair is not many over the last couple, but it definitely was like there were some progression stopping bugs that were really painful. Stuff like just, oh, sorry, your character's bricked. Good luck next time, which is a bit of a pain, but generally you'll be able to go through and do all the story, all the experience, everything like that. Now, I can't imagine they'll have any of the cutscenes or anything in final, so if you're doing this beta testing, I would highly recommend you not to do much of the story if you don't want to be spoiled.
yeah, just play class stuff. Don't play.
Yeah.
Like
Actually,
they're selling the beta thing as a feature. It will just genuinely make launch day worse for you, so don't. Like, we kind of take the hit. We take the hit, but don't go in as far as we do, because getting the proper sort of game launch experience, I think, is far more worthwhile than a little bit of fun now. Something. Good things to come to the what? Good things come to those who wait. There we go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's almost as if people have sort of moved away from buying early access and playing betas for a good reason, maybe. I completely understand it, but don't do it unless you really, really, really want to. Unless you're something invested in it, like you're a Mythic Raid or something. But if you're just a casual player, just go away until it's out, basically, would be my recommendation. Just because, even seeing some of the story events in Ashkahet without the full weight of the cinematics behind them, without the full weight of music and voice acting, is I would have loved this if I had seen it in the way it's supposed to be, but I've in fact seen it in a busted half-assed version, so that's going to be my first impression of it forever.
The Mummy with only sound effects.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not quite like that,
Yeah.
but it is.
Awful advice: do proper testing, give proper feedback, or don't play alphas betas. It's not your responsibility to give feedback. You can choose to do so, or you can choose not to do so. Is it true that I could turn around and say, well, the game would be better if everyone gave feedback? Technically, but not all feedback is good feedback. There's a reason they run alphas with very little feedback and with invited people before. A lot of it is because they get people who play the game a shit ton and they get very good feedback that they can work on. Especially this year where they've had, or this time round, they've had excellent feedback on a lot of classes. Very, very, very thing. The point of a beta isn't to give feedback an awful lot of the time. Beta is it's kind of people paying to be QA testers on the larger front. It's a little bit of, you can get early access to this game and it's in a substantially worse form than it's going to be live. You're trading off that for basically I'm going to run into bugs. So it's a little bit like that. The data from playing is just full.
The point that my main drive behind this is the beta is being marketed as something for you to do, right? And it's being marketed with a sale. I would say that if you watch that trailer and you're excited about those characters and you see, pre-purchase to access beta, under no that means you shouldn't. Because if you're actually excited by those things, which are the narrative, you should wait and enjoy that properly when it's done. I think for this testing, there are those of us who are fundamentally interested in testing, who are interested in how the game grows and develops, and people who are interested in classes, who do a hell of a lot of testing. Because there can just be those weird esoteric times where a talent is bugged, and the maths just are not as intended. And it can take a long-ass time for that to be solved. That recently happened with Warlocks, and the Warlock bug existed, I think, since Shadowlands.
Sure did.
So
sure did.
So yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I can understand. So there are lots of different types of testing that don't require feedback. So Blizzard, I would hope, gets a lot of telemetry while you're playing.
Yeah, of course.
And they can. So whenever you crash, the easy way to explain it is they would have everything that they need to make a heat map of where in the world people crash. and all the different reasons why they crash, and all of those, all of those things. So there's that, and then the server side of stress testing. You don't need to leave feedback. All you need to be is just a body stressing the system. I think my main thing, though, and it's less applicable to something like this, it's more applicable to Endgame, is they just need more adversarial internal testing with the mod remix stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because like with Alpha, there's been a lot of cases where, say, like the feedback on classes and the feedback on hero talents has been very effective, but there's also stuff where like feedback on story it's far too late. Even as hit alpha,
and there's a lot of things
they're maybe change wording on like a couple bits of quest text.
Not if it's spoken.
Yes, I was going to say, but if they've recorded dialogue, there's a very little chance that gets solved because
and it's more than just that. It's more than just that. I mean, like I've. And I know, and you know who they are. Even beyond that, people who have been launching games that are localized into multiple languages. So there's a lot of stuff there that people just don't know. Whereas, like, why do the developers not just, like, open the thing and change the text? Well, your problem there is you'll be working with, ideally, one localization partner to do all of the localization. So now you have got to get all of your batches of text over to them for localization. That's got to be, like, fully project managed. So the idea of, like, a just-in-time fix to dialogue, that's not happening. There are times where you'll find that the English version of a game on Steam might end up being like the best or the most, reflecting of the developer's vision, purely because they stuck fixes into their dialogue way after localization lock. Localization lock can be like 6 months before ship. It'll often be done in batches, and those batches have got a budget. So you'll have like a polish and fixing, localization budget. But those things are like a lot more fixed, I think, than people realize. World of Warcraft is also, it's translated into loads of languages, both text and voice. So that's why like story feedback just can't be actioned on. It can be actioned on in the next patch or the patch after that or something.
If you're lucky.
Or they can hatchet something out. Patch 8.1. Remember all the Darkshore discourse? That was fun. And I think the things that were fixed there, I don't think they were spoken. They were all just text bubbles.
So stuff like that can be fixed, but like largely story direction is locked from well before we see it. And we're like, okay, well that's kind of it. So it is for game testing more than anything else, realistically. It's like, don't worry, AI translate exists. Get the fuck out of here with that. Jesus wept. There is currently a plague of machine translations and AI translations across fan subbing and different like manga subbing stuff.
You're on the front line.
It is the fucking worst hellscape nightmare I've ever seen. Everywhere is flooded with low effort, low quality dog shit, and I can't wait for it to end. I can't wait for every single service. It's like, we have some AI. I hope there's fucking energy restrictions put on that shit immediately. Everyone gets shot for using it. Not literally. Yeah. I'm being hyperbolic because I'm personally affected.
And the fun thing is,
but
not a single thing you said will ever matter.
I know
on that. So,
absolute dog shit.
But by which I mean, that technology's here. It can't not be here. So, it exists. We ball. We have to do so. We have to operate in the world where it exists because it does exist. So then, how do you do that right? And I imagine there's a lot of machine translation stuff that, more advanced, like good LLM machine translation stuff that's probably good for first pass, good for bulk, certainly a lot better than Google Translate. But it has to be a tool used to to help the human not do the drudge.
Yeah, except for you look at how it's currently been used in like in translation stuff at the minute.
Surely Japanese is going to be especially challenging.
Yes, and also the companies are using it as a way to say, hey, well, AI will do 90% of the work, so we only need to pay you 10%, even though the work is unusable and we have to start from scratch. It's literally a way to go, fuck you, we're not paying you to do your job.
See now?
We've made your job harder. Some other things, but I don't want to end this. I'll talk about it all fucking day long.
They fucked it in the article space.
Yeah, it's profound. It's profoundly horrible. It's profoundly horrible, and actual human translators and localizers are getting fucking destroyed for it. As much as, people may have disagreements with how they approach their job specifically, in the most cases, they actually do a substantial amount of difficult work and do it quite well.
Well, yeah, FF14.
There are more examples of it being good than it being bad in most cases. I think localizers in general get a pretty bad rap for it.
A lot of people don't understand a lot of people think it's translation, but it's not translation, because you gotta like sell the meaning. So it's like there could be say a script in Japanese and it's using like one of them famous proverbs they do over there, or it's some like colloquial thing. So the translation has then got to work out, okay, to a UK or American speaking audience who will not understand that whatsoever, what is their nearest equivalent that they will understand?
No, just do literal translation for everything, forehead.
I absolutely love it when stuff just comes straight from Japan through Google Translate.
It's so bad.
That's what everyone used to do at school. They'd go to Google Translate, they'd like put it into Japanese and then into like, Chinese simplified and then back into Japanese and then suddenly it all just seems very profound when it comes out the other end.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
So that's story feedback. That's why that's going to be really tricky.
Yeah. So that was us talking about beta and getting slightly one guy into oblivion. Thanks, chat. Thanks very much for that. To unlock the new fucking weakness. But yes.
Now Oblivion. Oblivion is a game that might have been written by an AI.
Hey, possibly. That would be really funny.
I really hope Oblivion, like the remake. I hope that's happening.
It has to be.
I kind of like
they won't have an Elder Scrolls game for 7,000 years. They don't re-release
like it's
something.
the campiness that exists in Oblivion that like isn't there as much in Skyrim and the Dark Brotherhood questline. So there you go, beta. We can all be betas together in 2 days.
Absolutely.
Very exciting.
See
very
you there.
Cool.
Dude,
my keyboard has stopped working.
Heal and or tank for me in dungeons so I can test some DPS. Thank you. Fucking getting healers on alpha. No crack whatsoever. Jokes on you, I'm already a beta. Nice. Very good. Very good. Well, you should have been an alpha like us. I take that back. It's horrible.
That's it.
Terrible.
Only cucks pay for their beta access. That was mean.
I don't know.
That was mean. We do get the streamer privilege.
I'm playing World of Warcraft. I'm to test it, and Blizzard aren't paying me. Who's the fucking idiot here?
Here we are, accidentally making free marketing material because we think it's interesting.
Damn, motherfucker. Anyway.
I mean, obviously not marketing, but, exposure. Mm-hmm. Whenever we sit down, we talk about Mop Remix and we get really angry. People know then, it spreads. People know about Mop Remix.
When does Blizz release the Sigma? If they rebranded the actual live version as the Sigma version, that would be great.
The Sigma trailer is, the music they use in the shorts, in the YouTube shorts, the Sigma grind, and they always have Cillian Murphy walking about the place.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I know.
Just do one of those. Oh my God! There's a new story, Matt, called The Goblin Way.
There is. I read this just before stream. It's fine. I quite liked it. I quite liked how it was written, how it went down.
GPT-4o, can you summarize this short story for me? Done. All right, the next segment.
So, I can... I'm kind of stun-locked by that.
That was a piss take.
I'm kind of stun-locked by that because, one, for a start, I wouldn't put a fucking past you. Second, I was all like, I'll just do a better job with it. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's the future. Fuck. That's the future. I'll just do what AI
from my
does, but
subjective
better.
first-person experience, an ethereal man just screamed into my ears, "Pull the lever," and it was time. I was like, "Oh, my time has come." Yeah,
I'm gonna be honest. The ethereal man is screaming in my ears to pull something, but it's not a fucking lever. It's a fucking trigger. Oh my God. So, speaking of pulling triggers and things, let's talk about this story. So this is...
doing a good pontificate.
Mm-hmm. We've got Monty Gaslow and Marin Noggenfogger, who are two goblins,
They are.
and they have disagreements. Monty Gaslow's like, boys, workers' rights, and Noggenfogger's like, what the
Bro.
fuck? What the fuck are those?
What's happened to you?
My profits, bro. And that's the story. That's it really summed up. It's essentially, you know, the way we're sitting with like the prospect of a goblin raid based on data mining and stuff like that.
We have a union patch.
Yeah, we'll have a patch.
We have the union patch.
Yeah. This was not written by Christy Golden. This was written by a fella named Andrew Robinson, who's a comics person and other things. I don't actually know him, but it was not Christy. She wrote the what's it called? The Anduin one, which I liked. I liked the Anduin one. It was very Christy Golden, but I quite liked it. I didn't like it for a while, and then it got good. I was like, oh fuck, actually, nice. I see what you're doing. So yes, classic goblin story, and more or less right. This was just Monty or Gaslow was like, okay, let's change our culture to not be shitheads anymore, to not be profoundly profiteering, selfish, horrible nightmare people. And he eventually, convinces Noggenfogger of this through charisma and everyone going, oh yeah, actually makes sense. But it is very clearly a thing that goes, we're going to have some goblin drama. There's the venture, let's say the venture capitalism. That's what it is. The venture company. The venture company are, scuppered. And,
are they?
We fought them everywhere we go. We beat the shit out of them. So, then what's his name? The leader got exploded by Gallywix. So, we're,
When did that happen?
I don't know, but it's referenced in the book, so
okay,
it happened.
good.
Before Gallywix went as well. So without Gallywix, with Gaslow now in like the leadership position of the Steamwheel Cartel and in the leadership position of the Goblins in the Horde, he's going around going, right boys, do you want to do some workers' rights here? Because this is all very short-sighted. And you could almost like tell, you could almost like feel the energy of, the entire video game industry's issues just like pour onto the paper here.
Oh, the final line was worried enemies, but he honestly hadn't thought an attempt on his life would come this soon, let alone so ham-fisted.
Yeah.
This ham-fisted.
Yeah. So they are, it's literally just like Noggenfogger's running the, I can't remember which one it is, but he's running one of the fucking cartels and kind of wrecking the place. Doing a very, profit now, fuck the workers, they can like die, I don't give a shit. What's that, fixing things? No, just make it, we need shipments, all this profiting. All this extremely short-sightedness. And guys was like, boys, if you invest in your workers, it'll pay dividends in the future. And I was like, the fuck are you talking about? And then he convinces him it's true, etc. But it is like actually like it's decently well written. There's like a little back and forth between these two people, like kind of these two people in positions of power, kind of, being sort of beating around the bush with what they're saying and then saying exactly things, exactly what they mean. It's like well written dialogue-wise and stuff. But it is the Goblins' way of things is going to change. That's the entire thing they're setting up here. As to how that'll fit into a Goblin raid, if we have one, because we obviously, in the data mining, we've found an example of, something called that. So this attempt to change society, the fact that there's already some profiteering goblins that have set up in Castle Gar and around there ahead of us, with the venture company showing up in Ashgahet and also on the Isle of Dorn itself. We've got, I can't remember her name, but there's a goblin who's clearly inspired by like the venture company ways. She runs a Cinder Meadery, and she has like her bodyguards are called Yes Men. And when they die, they shout like affirmations towards her and stuff. That kind of it's funny, like it's kind of well done, but clearly, like the story they're trying to tell here is as part of like World of Warcraft's ongoing world building and ongoing stuff, especially when you consider the future Orgrimmar revamp and how like half of the problem with Orgrimmar now is that the goblins sort of fucked it up. And there's also like there's no water in Durotar. Why? Because the goblins fucked it up. Oh, what's where do the goblins live? Oh, it stinks like fucking horrible because it's all just wrecked the sewer system and stuff like that. All that stuff going on. So they had a little story I'm sure we'll find out how it'll lead into a goblin raid in some capacity. But that's likely going to be our point 1. More or less. Our point 1 story. Maybe a 0.05?
That
Maybe a 0.1?
okay. So,
but it's certainly...
I will admit.
Yeah.
Whenever I first saw the goblin raid stuff, I thought, what the fuck?
Yeah.
That is this feels more tenuous than Zarlek, and I really hope it's not like Gallywix's secret ball is in Undermine and Xalatath has to steal the ball, and then we go there. I don't know. But I saw that and thought, like, no, we have so many elements.
Yeah.
Stay with our current elements.
That's something that's concerned me as well. As soon as I saw this, I kind of, like, my heart sank a bit.
Yeah, for me it was like, oh, no, why have you done this?
Yeah, because...
I can't imagine that feeling like anything other than a cock block to the story.
Yeah, it feels like something they had an idea to do, and they're like, why not? And you're like, those resources would really have been better used elsewhere. Now, there's a chance that they do manage to fit it somewhere in, because one of the things in this is actually like an obvious reference to Azeroth not been super happy, and like, because Gazlo comes in and talks about how he was like meeting with Thrall recently, and like the elements aren't happy with what they're doing because they're wrecking the place, and he's like talking to druids and shamans and things like that a little bit, which is... You know, that kind of leads into the story of Azeroth not being in the best shape. But as to whether they'll be able to do this like properly and tie it into the main story, or if, you know, because Rainer says, you know, Goblin fans would want like something that isn't comic relief for ages, that's a good point in some like serious Goblin storytelling. It's like kind of culturally relevant and like, okay, well, here's workers' rights and sustainable development, the story. That would be like perfectly fine. It's because I actually like, not saying this will be bad or is bad or anything like that. It's literally just the same problem of, are we going to get this and then, you know, a couple patches later turn and say, man, that whole story was really fucking undercooked. Where was all the stuff?
Thinking about, like, say, Star Trek Picard Season 2.
Oh, no.
Because I have to bring it to Star Trek. And at the time, everyone in America was talking about ICE and the border. Funny enough, I think they're still talking about the border.
Really?
But in Star Trek Picard, they're like, I know what we're going to do. A border episode. You're like, that's not... I get it. But... You're Star Trek.
Yeah, that's what an idiot thinks Star Trek is.
And it obviously can be touching in that stuff. It's more the way that it sort of contorted itself into that shape in a way where you had large chunks of an already really bad season of TV that were not reinforcing each other. And I guess I look at this and I think, like, Blizzard, your number one problem is you undercook your A-plot to a gargantuan fashion almost all of the time. Please. We need our A-plot to be cooked to not to perfection. We just need it to be edible.
Yeah, give us at least like rare or medium rare.
We will let you use an instant pot. We will let you use an air fryer, but stop it with a microwave.
Don't say that about an air fryer. It's a bad thing. Air fryer's great.
Oh yeah. No, the microwave's at the bottom of the pile here.
Yeah, no, the air fryer's top of the pile. Fuck you.
True. No, air fryer's good. Okay, fair. Yeah. I just don't see people being that excited about goblins.
Like, I feel like they'll probably
undermine. They'll need a reason.
Yeah, and they'll build a reason, and they'll set it up, and there'll be hints, and there'll be little bits and bobs here as you can go, okay, well, I can see where you're going with this. Oh, the goblins are showing up, and the goblins are like, oh, I see the goblins and what they're doing, mining out the planet is like, oh, that's allegorical for what the Nerubians are doing for the old blood. Oh, but it's not for the old blood, it's not the old god, it's actually greed was the real villain all along. Dun, dun, dun.
They dug too deep.
The Shah of Greed appears and starts swiping everybody, stealing their credit cards. Starts making gacha games to get people to know. It is kind of frustrating, right? It is frustrating how, like, no matter what they do, it's probably going to feel kind of an accessory to the main story, which is just the continual frustration. Not to like immediately doomsay this or whatever. It is like, God damn it. Wouldn't it be really nice if we had a raid that was with Xalatath? And we'll probably get one. And she'll probably show up in an air bar. And she'll probably show up in one after that. But it's like, just get me out. Just fucking overdo it. Overdo it. Stop underdoing it. Stop
Go
overdoing
Arthas. Go Arthas with it.
Yeah, it's like, here's the zone, and she's in your face every 4 seconds, and you've got like 8 dungeons with her and 4 raids. You're like, let's go, let's do it. That's obviously Arthas is a really good comparison because those what was that patch called? The one with all of the Ice Crown dungeons, the pit of
3.3.
Yeah, whatever that was.
Forge of Souls, Pit of Sauron, and Halls of Reflection.
Yeah, that shit. Fucking
Top marks.
Aces.
Yeah.
And they haven't done that since.
Haven't done it since.
And that was just, what if we have...
Haven't done it since.
Yeah.
Well, they tried to in Cataclysm.
Cataclysm was...
Like with the the trio of dungeons,
close.
the dungeons at the end.
Cataclysm was kind of...
It wasn't that good, but I mean, like, they tried to do that format, but then I think they rapidly realized, especially as it went into MOP, dungeons just don't have a place in our game. What do we do? And yeah, they finally found the place again. And I guess mega dungeons are our current version of that.
Yeah, so maybe I'd be happier if this was maybe a mega dungeon.
Mm.
But obviously in the files there was an item icon labeled Goblin Raid.
It does feel like a mega dungeon sized thing.
Yeah, because even you think of like Tazavish, and you go, that was perfect for a mega dungeon kind of thing. Or the same with Mechagon, that was a perfect mega dungeon. And then I don't know anything. You go, why was that not a raid? God damn it, that's fine. It's fine. They did do things that were like they could only have done in a mega dungeon there realistically, and that was cool and all. Like I loved Dawn of Infinite, but you're also like, man, that story had no more time. Why has this game not got 6 raids and expansion?
Dragonflight was still pretty ADHD.
Yeah.
Yeah, like my main criticism of Dragonflight is I would rather have no Zaralek, but a complete main story.
Oh yeah, yeet Zaralek and Abras into the fucking trash can. But I suppose that's the problem. Like it's the same thing where Zaralek ended up trying to tell the story.
Don't handle bronze at all then. But yeah, it suffered from trying to do too many things. But you have to,
because you've got the Dragonflights.
Yeah, well then you need a longer expansion to hit that fantasy.
But you need a year expansion or you run out of money and die.
Well, there you go then.
Hang on. Is this an impossible problem? Are we fucked? Oh dear. Whatever will we do? Oh no. Actually, obviously like kind of
legitimately tricky.
Yeah, like actually they need to go back to the days where they can make Molten Core in a weekend. And be like, sorry boys, raid all fidelities in the fucking trash. Sorry that we have one boss model, we'll reuse it in every raid. We've got, what's the fight? You fuck it. He's got 2 ads, tank them. Stand on a circle to not die. That's the fight. Enjoy. Not literally, obviously, of course, but there's certainly a perpetual resource problem with like how things are going and where the effort actually goes. So
especially when they're multidisciplinary.
Yeah,
because you can throw Molten Core together in a weekend or in a week, like as 3 people. If it's something large with quality standards, with multiple teams and producers, and like I think
it's like
whenever people maybe they're like, why do the developers not do the very obvious thing? And it's mostly because like it's a team of just 550 people. That's a lot of people. It's hard to move them.
It's hard enough to get fucking 5 people to move, like.
Yeah. Yeah, and things get harder with scale.
Yeah, do you ever try fitting 15 people in a karaoke room? It fucking doesn't go too well.
Oh, should you go to that?
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Doesn't go too well, boys. But
Good
shit. Yeah, so this goblin stuff is probably going to be executed more than fine. Yeah. The only problem is everyone's going to turn around and go, this is good, but it's not what I asked for. And then you're going to have the problem of, well, they couldn't give us what they asked for. Why? Because they don't have the flexibility to say, we'll have 4 raids that are all about our main expansion theme. They have to parallelize and do off stuff like that. And also, I'm sure someone internally is going, well, we can't have all of the raids be about the A plot because then people will get bored of the A plot. People will get bored. They want side content, little things to do, little side adventures. Do you not have other stories you wish to tell within it to kind of expand the future of the world? And you go, that all sounds really good. It does. And then you're left going, fuck. This game needs to be 3 times as big to be remotely satisfying on like a story front in a way that it could be.
Yeah.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, it's challenging. I think it is just that goblins really... Okay, see the vibe trailer? The goblins don't feel like the vibe trailer.
Yeah, that's probably intentionally because it's like, well, we're going to build the world out a little bit otherwise.
Yeah. No, so
That's fine.
an interesting challenge for them, but I wonder if they have stepped up their production. They've already delivered a whole expansion with it. Maybe we have less chaos, more clarity in the post-launch cycle of this one.
Based on...
You'd hope so,
you
and
know,
like that seems to be what... Like, Holly was pretty, like, open that there were, you know, times where they had too much content clustered together or content that, like, didn't really match in player profiles, which meant that stuff just, you know, didn't always land as well as it could have.
Yeah, so I think... Basically, I think if Dragonflight was them kind of getting their act together midway through, then a lot of these issues that we do have should maybe, like, also kind of not be an issue because they could just have more per patch. Like, that could obviously solve the problem quite well. It literally is a case of a little bit of doomsaying based on this, but it is, you know, sorry for having pattern recognition is, I think, the kind of thing I'll say. Because we've seen this happen before.
Spooky.
Where was our Throws raid? That was part of the A-plot. Where'd that go?
Remember Thros?
Yeah. Where did Shatrath go?
Remember Christopher Judge?
Where did Shatrath go?
You'll never get it. We're never going back, Matt.
Time, Michael. It's a
Time.
flat circle.
Well, how about Fareem's fractals?
That's not a circle at all. This is a.
I love.
This is an extruded what is it called? Was it hexateron? No, sorry. Four-sided tetrahedron that's internally extruded to form a multi-dimensional solid with 20 planes of existence, 15 transitory pathways, and 6 vertices, where interferon patterns create monopolar expressions of cosmic forces. Or in other words, shapes, shut the fuck up, go away, pay attention to our characters, not our fucking cosmic shit.
Yeah. So, context.
Yes.
This is a book of the sort of... Well, the astrologians of the Arathi Empire.
Palaltar. They're laughing at us.
What they think, okay?
They're laughing at us.
So, it's very meta. That's been my immediate read. This feels like it is hamming it up to the point where it's taking the piss out of the cosmic charts. And I think they're very much doing that on purpose. And I think they're trying to horseshoe this to the point where it may as well be a softer magic system because, there's so much. It's so granular, it doesn't matter. You can't keep track of it. Just stories, characters, people with motivations, doing things. Let's move away from the tricky storytelling of hard magic systems.
Mm-hmm.
It's always that challenging thing. Hard magic systems. Very interesting. Very fun. Can be challenging to write around.
Yeah, you know what the cool part about hard magic systems are? It's when you set up all these rules and then you break the shit out of them entirely for Rule of Cool, and it's amazing. Go read Fate Stay Night, it's wonderful. Spends like 20 hours of reading going, here's all the rules, and then the last like 10 hours, like all the rules don't make any fucking sense and we only told you half of them, and here's the other half and it's all just busted. And then there's Fate Zero, where it's like, yeah, good magic, here's a gun. So unlike our ancestors, we don't limit our thinking of the cosmos to monopole elemental phase spaces, fucking idiots.
Very trite, very savage.
A discredited notion rooted in ancient myths from old Arathor. We're running the old system. Sad. Comforting if technically incorrect arrangement.
This must what it be like. This is what it's like to live in York.
Go on.
That's
Go on.
it.
Okay. One wonders if such quaint notions would have faded, but for creatures like demons and the old gods who work primarily through a single energy types. Where's the QA, Blizzard? This conflation of culture and dimensional topology holds back. I think they might be talking to us with this bit. This conflation of culture and dimensional topology holds back so many otherwise promising mages.
No, that's also...
Say that to my face.
Yeah, that's also their old writing.
Yeah.
Do you remember like Odin? No, yes, Odin in the letters, just being like, "This is not order."
Yeah. Yeah, all of the people who have a horse in the race for who use a single cosmic or energy type, they're the ones who are going and pushing it really hard. That's why we get the Blade of Order from the fucking Time Rifts. Apparently, you go, Blade of Order? Does that mean it's a straight fucking line or what? Like, what do you mean? Anyway.
That's like an engineer square.
Yeah, right enough. Put simply, the cosmos appears as a hexateron. Imagine a four-sided tetrahedron internally extruded to form a multi-dimensional solid with 20 planes opposite.
Okay, I'm imagining it. I've got it held in there.
15 transitory pathways and 6 vertices where interferon patterns create monopolar expressions of cosmic forces. Which is to say...
this is like Mensa Gamer Edition.
Yeah.
Oh my,
So,
I'm going to need some G Fuel for this one, Matt.
You know the 6 vertices?
Yeah?
Full Kabbalah, full
Yeah.
Sephiroth stuff. What if all of them were connected and reality isn't just these points? What if reality is the interconnections as opposed to the vertices?
I'm confused. Does this mean we're killing Jesus or not?
Uh,
Is the Pope the main villain?
Yeah.
How does it work?
More or less.
Is this a JRPG? Help?
No. So this is all very simplistic and two-dimensional and whatever the fuck. You've got like death, shadow, order, life, light, and disorder are vertices.
Yeah.
And all of these create different planes, which are substantially more about where the actual world is. It is, this complicated shape. And stop thinking about any of this, because singular energy types are unstable according to Ogden's law.
You know him?
He is.
Yeah.
Yeah, good man, went to school with him. And thus they bind to one or more secondary elements.
Oh my god, Frostfire Mage.
Holy shit, real true. That's actually
Oh.
no, because frost and fire. Well, actually, I'll shut up. The Firelands contains as much magma as it does flame, and why the holy radiance of the sacred flame acts as an internal beacon.
Yeah. And
So that's why everyone's going, holy flame? Is that shadow flame? But the
Yeah, of
Naru?
course it is.
And then this book said, fuck up, be quiet. No one cares.
Do you know this explains why Pokemon have 2 types?
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
It does.
Incredible. Now, I think you see, when they're going to the multi-dimensional solid with 20 planes of existence, 15 transitory pathways, 6 interferon patterns. Sounds like a Captain Scarlet thing.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Oh no, Matt,
Oh no! Oh god!
See, as soon as I do that, then
Yeah, it stops. Yeah. Yeah.
we're being blasted with interferons now. That is them, I think, amping it up to the point of absurdity to make a point, and also in a way to further their storytelling. So, this is a bunch of academics of some far off, of the Garlean Empire, often Garlemald. That's just who the Arathi are in my head now.
Okay.
Sure. They're far away, and they're very mean and nasty, and they have these mages. That's what they think, but they're just a bunch of nerds. That's the point. The point is they're just a bunch of nerds. Do you know what matters? This is Rocky Fire. This is Holy Fire. This is Spooky Fire.
Yeah.
And these different people are using oh no! The Spooky Fire people are coming.
Yeah. So clearly,
It's softening it. It's basically saying all of this stuff is, so complex and, wah wee wah that I don't think about it. It's yeah.
It's literally saying this is more complicated than it is in reality. None of this really, it's all real. It's all true. But it doesn't particularly matter for how you view the world, because the cosmos is, in fact, conflicts of all this. And the way I kind of visualized it was, like in my head, was this is... Because this did a really fucked up thing. Where it set reality in the middle as this tiny little, teeny tiny fucking little box, little circle planet. And then put all of the other stuff all over the place. And we're like, wow, we're kind of small. But we're in the middle. That's important. But I think rather than reality being the center point, I think reality is more all-encompassing.
Well, that's like the thing that your man got crisped for.
Do you want to...
The heliocentric model.
Yes, the heliocentric model. Yeah, more or less, where I think this was...
Of course we're in the middle. We're cool.
Yeah, like, this is... Well, heliocentric.
The other way.
Yeah.
Fuck me.
Yeah.
The Terracentric. Fine, whatever. I'll
just guess.
Pull a Latin out of my ass.
Guess,
Yeah.
yes. Geocentric. Yeah. So I think this reality is basically a wrapper for all of everything.
Yeah.
It's the wrapper of everything, and everything all kind of exists as a sub part of it. Shut up, it doesn't matter.
Yes, it is geocentric. Fuck me.
Shut up, it doesn't matter. And this is like a big version. It's like, here's it from a different angle. But
this is after the Taliesin transformation has been applied.
Yeah, and like this is kind of it where I'm like, this makes decency sense to me. And then you go, well, it's all a big fucking circle, and reality is all of it. What if there's a big circle around it all done?
Just looked at the OP.
Have you?
Yeah. 3D spheres of the same placement. Only the camera rotates. Inspired by Taliesin. Brackets. He did not look at the elements, though.
Damn. Call it lacking. Unbelievable. Well, that means something different. Fuck. I don't know what that means. I don't know. But yeah, basically the point is that this is really silly. Really very silly. I think they're soft retconning the importance of all of this Shadowlands stuff. They'll keep it literally kind of true, but from a weird way of like, I
should read it, Matt. I should read it. Read it for the dear people.
No, we shouldn't.
Oh, because it's great. 6 voices in Discord. Their soundboards playing. Without harmony, the anthem will be ended.
Remember Anthem?
Yeah.
Remember Anthem? That Anthem has been ended. Thank God.
Her dreams sing beneath the surface. Quiet now, but her voice will awaken the others. Mortis, lumen, ordos, rhythm and structure, vitae, umbra, tumult, improvisation, and possibility. The cycle has been broken. No! An eternal song stirs, but the threads must be... Oh, don't get me started in the threads.
The threads.
I'm just thinking about all the different Drakas being woven together. That is a obscure reference to an interview from 4 years ago. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. What if we don't really think about the
Steve and his Draka threads. Anyway.
What if we don't really think about the metaphysics of our afterlife much? Whoops. Uh-oh. Whoopsies. Our bad. Won't do that again. The ancestors. Fuck it. Yeah. You can talk to them. It's cool. Sweet. Nice. Yeah. So like all of this stuff is there. And I think there's a lot of it's like, how do I put it? I think that it's all technically relevant, but they're never going to actually make you need to know or give a shit about it.
No, that would be insane.
Yeah, because all this, her dreams sing beneath the surface, quiet now, but her voice will awaken the others. It's like, yeah, what are they doing now? Azeroth is now going...
She woke up.
Azeroth's now giving people dreams. Everyone's like, I had a fucking weird-ass dream. Holy shit, let's go save the world. You're like, spot on. The Radiant Echo, whatever the fuck it's called, the Radiant Song. There you go.
Song.
That's what they were talking about. Did they know that at the time? Probably something close to it, but they're going to pull it into something that is less absolute fucking waffle. And instead will be kind of along the energy of this conflation of culture and dimensional topology. That line specifically gets me, because we're like, oh, the void is like this. Oh, the light is like this. And they're like, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. No, the old gods are like this because they're the old gods, not because they're void aligned.
Yeah.
The void lords are like this because they're fucking bad guys, not because they're the void. There is an element of the theming that still stays true. Obviously, they can't go back and say, well, the void's whole thing of infinite possibility has nothing to do with the number 0 at all and what void means. And light, that's nothing to do with the religious connotation of, having one prayer in one way and seeing one thing to the end. That's all going to still exist. But they're not going to work that into like how they're really telling the story in a big way. They're just going to be like, it's all fucking background stuff. It's cool for you if you're following it, but...
The Oracle has been photographed mid-diss track.
Yeah, certified... No, I'm not going to say the word. So, yeah, I think...
Rhythm and structure.
Yeah, I think that's I think that's kind of the point.
Yeah,
where
it is.
Like specifically, like, they bind to one or more secondary elements.
I've just seen
it's just fine.
The name of Volume 3, it's called Part 3, A Victim of Lesser Intellects.
Yeah.
Part 2,
That's what I
A
call
Testament to a singular intellect.
I can fix this. Singular intellect.
You can fix
Point.
her.
There we go.
There we go.
There you go. Yeah. Int. One int. Have fun. Yeah.
You may hear the song, but you will not understand it, Matt.
Me.
Oh my God.
Me when I'm at Korean karaoke.
the 6 forces that pointed towards the 7th, and yet denied it. It was both 6 and 7. The 6 were one and the 7th the other.
I thought the 7th, 8th, 9th.
Did they desire union? The song seemed to say otherwise. Both were, yet only one could be.
Oh yeah, remember the first ones? Moving on.
I'm guessing like what this is saying is, quantum field theory. Well, that makes a potato, and the potato's a potato.
Yeah, it's just shut up and crap.
Is the potato just I don't know, result of fucking quantum field shit? Yeah, but it's also just a potato. Eat it.
Yeah, just mash that shit
There you
up.
go. Don't need to worry.
Mash that shit up, throw in some cream cheese, off you go. Dinner. So yeah, that's this lore bit where I think they are very much telling us to go.
Oh yeah.
Pay attention to the things that are happening and not paying attention to like the super deep cosmic background shenanigans.
They have winked and they have nudged. Other things. Is there anything else that we should talk about that hasn't already been covered in the WoW news? UI updates we have talked about. We don't need to do that here. There are placeholder Mythic Plus affixes, but they are, I think, literally just placeholder spots for them. And there aren't any. But we do have 2 icons.
God.
If they give enemies a spell reflect that just like mirrors damage back, oh my god, it would be so funny. That may be the most
ridiculous.
destructive thing that they could do. Do you remember running it was one of the Auchendoon dungeons in TBC Time Walking, doing that at the start and just having whole groups kill.
The void reflection,
just whole groups killing themselves like on the first boss.
Yeah, no, easy solve. The spell reflect will be a hard cast, and then people just interrupt it, and there'll be no problems.
That's it. It'll be on their plater profile.
Exactly.
Well, actually, one thing that did happen, Matt. New human racial.
Oh yeah.
Double hearth. 5-minute cooldown reduction.
Yeah, that's fine, but also bad. 2 charges is cool.
Yeah.
The 5-minute reduction's a bit, but obviously they're going to lose their it's
no
just
more diplomacy.
It's just sorry. You had a thing that was too good. We have to take the thing away that was too good. We have to do that for the game balance. And I think there's a contingent of people who are like, never, ever, ever nerf anything. Only buff. And to those people, no.
You need to stop thinking in monopolar ways.
Yeah.
Instead, you need to extrude the hexagon. Oh, get out of my head, WoW cosmology. Hexateron.
Not a hexagon. Don't be an idiot. So, yeah, I think some people really like this, but a lot of people just be like, I'm upset. Like, yeah, good for you. Be upset. I'd be upset if I were human. But, yeah.
Well, yeah.
I did see someone say that. Yeah.
You are human.
Are we? I gave my humanity up long ago. I'll have you know.
Oh, dear Lord, he reads manga.
Yeah, I've seen people say. That this would maybe be a less harsh sell if they turned around and said, your 10% rep applies to old reps, but not warband ones. Because then you would still be able to roll a human and go and do your insane title or go get your old exalteds. I think that's the part where they maybe they overlooked this a little bit too quick, possibly. But
think of the Switch statements. They don't want to write those.
That's true. There's also that's a good point, Brian. Of the racial imbalance is kind of frustrating. We're like, why do trolls get berserking, and you go to change human, you say, have another Hearthstone. You're like, sure, you don't want to give them DPS because then everyone would be mad. But you're still like, oh, sorry, we have to treat these differently. Right?
Yeah.
Come on. Either fix them or don't fix them. Basically, I think. And this is, obviously it's fine, but it's fine. I'm sure people will very much enjoy it. Especially with...
yeah, I mean,
how much traveling you kind of have to do manually in Kazalgar.
Oh,
as opposed to obviously you can dragon ride, but the place is fucking huge.
It's
huge.
very big.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's humongous.
It's not as easy to get around as the Dragon House, which is kind of fun. There's obviously ways to get around, but it's
Hello,
not like
viewer.
portals and stuff.
You've probably noticed the camera is stuck on me.
Yo,
Hey.
is it actually?
Yeah.
Apparently it's fine.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, it just wasn't.
I was just confused by the trigger.
Yeah, sweet.
Maybe
Yeah, no.
you were like just below the threshold or something.
Yeah, maybe.
Wild. Well, that's that. There's
That
not
is
really a huge amount of stuff to talk about. There are details. They've been in the WoW news. Obviously, more stuff will happen this week as beta goes live, and maybe that beta build will have surprises, have some fun. Other than that, though, there is the whole remix thing to talk about. So while
Oh boy, I'm so mad.
While you were in
I'm not
Canada,
mad. Yep.
and therefore not playing WoW, a lot of things happened. And I think a small amount of people, which probably would include me, were like, I don't want to say happy enough. Because okay. Wait a second. If those upgrades weren't like that, I probably would give a shit about my max level remix character. But
Yeah.
because the upgrades are the way that they are, I'm not touching that.
Yeah, because they're 500,000 bronze to upgrade everything. You're like,
And it's
nice.
also not like there's no account-wide discount either.
Yeah.
And it's a time-limited event. And I'm also a time-limited event because of death.
So that's where most of my problem comes in.
I've just self-radicalized. Incredible, let's
Yeah,
go!
I do it all the time. That's what I mean. Like, I was playing the ever-loving shit out of Remix when it was out, right? And then I went away. And I came back. And I hopped in to do a quick round of, like, the raids with the guild. And most of that was our one guy who was very strong and our second guy who was almost very strong. Just walking forward and exploding the whole place. And I was like, it's fine hanging out with people. But it was very much a whole W gameplay. And
Normal?
I'm not a fan of holding W for gameplay.
Was it normal?
Yeah, it was normal, yeah. But, like, even if it wasn't, the power disparity was way too great. Like, you'd have needed, like...
Oh, right. It's impossible. It's almost impossible to balance.
Yeah, so, like, it's the differential between, like, RTK and our monk, who are doing the most damage. Like, we would have had probably a little bit more of an actual gameplay experience if not for them being there. But because that's the way the game mode works, you don't want to do it normally because the game mode is largely designed around the speed of people going, BAM! Exploding,
Yeah.
right? Because they didn't limit it enough to make it a gameplay where you experience any gameplay. So the point of the game mode is to not have any gameplay. The point of the game mode is to mindlessly farm. Which, if that's the way your entire game set up, sure. But you can tell that they decided they didn't actually intend for the game to be completely broken. Because
How do they come to those upgrade values?
I think they intended this to be a longer burn season.
That's not
And then people frog farmed.
Yeah.
And then people Yongle farmed. And people farmed everything that's slightly hyper farmed, everything that's slightly hyper spawned. And then people were like, and we have we have ourselves a little 20 person or 20 level trial account that can one shot dungeon bosses.
Yeah.
Well, why would we do anything else? And that's, that's where the problem kind of lies, where I don't want to play it like they probably had some intention, kind of slowly, kind of enjoyably, kind of experience a little bit of it. I might have enjoyed that if that was the way everyone played. But you've got this like massive class division where you've got people who are like absolutely destroying it and they're just walking through, even like enough of them walking through Mythic Siege. And you're like, okay, well that's fine. You don't really have to do mechanics, you barely don't have to play anything. Sure, whatever, it's fine. But then you've got other people who are like, I'm sort of playing the game, how do I get to that? It's like, oh, spend 20 hours farming. Spend 30, 40 hours farming. I'm like, I don't think I will actually. And for me, it's down to the thing of like, This doesn't feel like a designed game mode anymore. This feels like you tried something and then it went fucking haywire and now no one knows what it is. It is full Kusuke energy. It is full, like, the only thing that, like, saves this is that the people who are stupidly overpowered didn't fucking buy it. Because it feels like a non-gacha Tower fantasy to me. Where you're like, oh yeah, what's that? You wheeled, which in this case is you frog farmed early, or you like fully upgrade everything. Then you just walk through the game. Which way is intended to play? And the answer is kind of both and kind of neither. And if you don't have a game that's like actually if you don't have a game that's like got a clear vision to me, I don't want to fucking play it. I'm not going to go around questing and doing shit.
Yeah, because quests and the other parts of the expansion experience, which are especially applicable because of Mists of Pandaria's cohesive narrative.
Where'd that go? Oh, sorry, all the staff left. Oops.
It was great, but like other than level up content, they like that bit doesn't feel like remix. It's just immediately went to Diablo the Raid's done.
Yeah. So it feels like there's that confluence of like, I don't really know what this is supposed to be. I don't really feel like I'm satisfied doing the normal kind of gameplay that's expected of me because I'm weak and I should be farming. And it's that awkward experience of like, almost in the same way of like you're trying to enjoy Torghast, but you know you have that like itch in the back of your mind that's like, this is your Stockholm syndrome little shithead cage. You're like, okay, I guess I'll be in the legendary cuck cage this week. Sweet, let's fantastic.
It's even the thing like you have maybe 50,000. Let's say 50 grand. You're like, oh, I could buy that cool rare mount, but that's an upgrade. That's one upgrade for one bit of gear. Well, at a higher level, but you know what I mean, right? Like, even that's not a particularly nice decision. I think that the tying of bronze...
That was definitely a mistake.
That backfired.
It might have been better if the upgrade costs were substantially smaller and the cosmetic costs were substantially higher. And then it was like the intention clearly was, well, you've got your gameplay loop and then you unlock cosmetics at the end. And they had tied more cosmetic unlocks to achievements.
Yeah, and
that
maybe
would have made more sense.
For the heroic raids... You could have those be radical steps up in difficulty from each other. Like radical. But also increases in bronze. But then the problem that they would have is that would be far too prescriptive. Because then quest stuff couldn't be competitive with that. And then that would mean that if the currency or the cosmetics were more expensive, then all the quest people would lose out. Which kind of sucks because I think they will be interested in the cosmetics. So it's weird. It's very bizarre.
They clearly, like, they did not balance bronze acquisition rates anywhere near enough. Even the like trying to continually work on it, it hasn't like equalized out the game mode whatsoever. So anytime you go, well, what am I going to do in Remix today? The answer is do some brain dead farming or don't bother. Obviously, there's like the just have fun for it, and to me, that doesn't really work for me in this game mode quite as much.
Like, yeah, there is just have fun.
I'm overall put off.
If the designer's hand has created a system of incentives that runs against that, that's a genuine problem in your design. Because like one of the things that game design does is it provides the right sort of enforcement to help encourage somebody along a vaguely intended path that involves them making vaguely intended decisions and confronting vaguely intended dilemma, and then also having second-to-second fun. Yeah. So if your reinforcement design then doesn't do that and creates sort of lose-lose questions, because it's not like, do I spend my bronze on the dragon or the upgrade? If you get one, you lose the other, and that actually means it is a lose-lose. Because every formulation of that has lose in it somewhere. Will that you got the mount or got the upgrade completely negate the negative you didn't do the other thing because of the shared currency with very bizarre and uneven acquisition rates? No, it won't. You know, it's like you just sort of map that out in a table, right? And almost like every player interaction that involves, everything that involves not walking away, there is a lose somewhere. You know, almost like, you know, whenever people, they want to demonstrate the prisoner's dilemma, so they sort of, you know, map a little decision graph thingy, or table, whatever, diagram. You know, a little bit like that. That's a problem. It's a big problem. Especially when you're trying to be a bit more Diablo, because Diablo is just super, you know, unga bunga, go, 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 go. It's super that. And, of course, Diablo has got multiple different currencies to handle multiple different things. And, you know, even Diablo, they've recently ran into a bit of a thing where people found that gold was too stingy for the masterworking system. And that's one of the things they've had to patch. But again, they, you know, generally that's where their gold was going, and they wanted to continue masterworking, or I think it was the masterworking. But it's not like it was that, or get something cool for your character, because that's in the store. You know what I mean, though?
Yeah.
So that's like it's a design headache, and I can see why that. I think they feel paralyzed because
Obviously.
the problem is really simple. It's the high numbers of most things, but specifically the upgrades. If they squish those upgrades, they're worried that people will be angry. Now, a lot of people at the top end have said, nope, squish it. I did the thing. Other people shouldn't have to do it. Squish it, please. It's better for the game. Because I suppose they probably want Mop Remix to have a healthy, geared endgame population for them to play with.
Of course, yeah.
So they don't feel like they can do the upgrades from that. But they can just inflate gold. You know? Just inflate the Reichsmark. Pay off your debt. Job's good. Done.
Yeah, exactly.
But if they do that, everyone's going to be like, excuse me, are you doing an inflation on me? Some people on Twitter like that. And then what have you done? You've basically done a very similar thing to if you nerf the bronze costs. But then also, you know, you don't want a situation like whenever they moved from season to season. Was it in Legion? One of the expansions, whenever they moved season to season, they basically whacked on another 0, so it didn't matter.
Was that the BFA artifact part, maybe?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
the Titanic, the residue from BFA.
That was it. It was the Titanic residue. Yeah. Yeah, exactly like that. So if you just inflate the whole currency to the point where what you had before feels irrelevant, then angry painters get elected to power. And that's what led to Garrosh.
Sure did, yeah. Yeah. No, I didn't know Garrosh was a painter. I must check out Laura and see if it holds.
Yeah, he painted the blood.
See if it holds. Yeah, so like I see a lot of talk in chat how the bronze costs are fine, just raid. And I'm gonna be honest here, the prospect of just raid, as in just do the raids that don't have any gameplay for like 2 hours if you're doing them quick every day, I would sooner eat glass.
Oh, well, there's a key difference. Again, there's a key difference here to Diablo. So the current, this model works, I suppose, up until you face roll Mythic. Because with Diablo 4, you end up with a pit. And the pit is basically like a greater rift. So the whole point of that is that it is that infinitely scaling style thing. But of course, in a game like Diablo, the entire challenge is, can you have a skill, an item build, and, you know, you've got all your god rolls, you've optimized the shit out of your character, and it turns out you're using a Holy Bolt elixir because they're very powerful. You literally, I think it's like you can't really get past 100 without using the Holy Bolts, because the Holy Bolts is so good. I think the highest people had was 141. But basically, the point is there's like a near infinitely scaling thing in the form of the pit, and that's there because it's Diablo, it's a progression game, and for some people, they need that like extremely heavy resistance weight that they fight against all the time at endgame. And that's really exciting and fun to them because it's an expression of their creativity in Buildcraft. You then look at sort of this in WoW, you don't necessarily have that creativity in Buildcraft. You do have some of it, and it's cool that there is some of it.
Very, very, very little.
I know they've nerfed some.
Very little, because it was always just like, and this is the problem.
It was always a 90-day event.
It's a problem with Buildcraft as well in a lot of games where it's like, oh, well, this is such a over-the-top game that you're looking for the exploded thing that doesn't work right. You're not looking for the good build. You're not looking for an interesting build that you're making. You're looking for what's the thing that is the broken one that they haven't fixed yet? And that's kind of the overwhelming issue, I think, with a lot of it and how it fits to me. And this is like going to sound weird, and like you're completely fine to like enjoy it, whatever. But for me, it's a case of it feels like it doesn't feel like it's well designed. It doesn't feel like it works, and I find it very difficult to actually enjoy anything that's not super clearly defined, or it feels off or feels wrong to me. At least not in like a fun way. Because like I don't want to like raid all day every day, because that's, or like at least for a couple hours a day, because that's a lot of time. Like,
well,
how many hours do you have
to
for
it as well?
Like,
in a lot of these turbo grind games, they're solo. They can be done in a group too, but like you can do, you can do it solo. You can't do that here. So if there was a version of Mythic Garrosh that, was this Mop Remix's equivalent of the Pit in Diablo 4, and you were going in there in your tricked out character, then you wouldn't have, because I know a lot of people there, if you go on the WoW subreddit and stuff, you just have people like, they're posting whatever the strange group requirements are, and there's been a lot of interesting social dynamics.
Oh, those are great. Yeah.
So in a game like that, you can sort of do a lot of that in a very self-serve way, which means the idea of, go knock out a few of those. Well, you just go do them instantly, instead of applying for queues and maybe a group breaks up, or, yada, yada, yada. So it's like it translates imperfectly over to World of Warcraft. And I think like daily organized raiding is... There's a version of this where everything is way less inflated. Things are on a weekly lockout. You get more progress per unit time, and it feels better. Because I think by putting so many of like the raids and stuff on a daily lockout, you really... that doesn't feel super sustainable.
Yeah, no.
I think for a lot of people...
That would work.
Yeah, you're maybe looking at that and thinking, I mean, Throne of Thunder, I love that. But if the thing is balanced so that I do Throne of Thunder and then I can afford one upgrade for one item in my character, I'm not interested. If you're telling me I do Throne of Thunder, it has a weekly lockout on that character, right? And I can get absolutely just tricked out, really good, because again, it's a time-limited event. But... once I've kind of grabbed those, low-hanging fruit of my weekly, raid or whatever, okay, well, now I can go quest, do other things, or maybe start an alt. But because it is super expensive, but then also super grindable because it's daily, that has fundamentally changed the proposition to me, to the point where it's turned into a game that's not... It doesn't really look like it's worth my time. As opposed to a more condensed... but temporally spaced out experience, which is the weekly lockout. And I think one of the reasons why is because there's people who will prefer Diablo over WoW, or WoW over Diablo. I think for those of us who prefer WoW over Diablo, some of what we like is the meaningfulness in the raid. And if WoW's progression systems were kind of like that juiced up, that expensive, but also that grindable, I just don't think that would appeal to a lot of people who actually like the idea of the weekly raid lockout. And I guess I don't really know what's going on with Lost Ark, but I know it was a supremely grindable game at the start. And at least from what I could tell, that really burnt people out. And then
people wrecked themselves.
And then they wandered off, and bots and so on. And I don't really know what the state of Lost Ark is these days.
I haven't looked at it myself. It is interesting. It's like, it's all about like how much do people enjoy the actual grind in the process itself. Because I'm no stranger to actually grinding video games, but there's something about the general aura of Remix that I don't really feel like grinding out.
So there's a difference.
I really don't know. I can't quite put my finger on it. Some of it is the fact that like there is effectively no gameplay in it outside of walk forward and press whatever buttons.
There are times you would,
explode.
I think, far rather... and you would have a more cognitively engaging experience if you were grinding frogs versus doing it in a raid. The reason why I think that is
I did enjoy the frog farm more, but that was literally because there was 3 of us in voice chat.
Oh yeah, but hang on. The raid, as you said, is just press W.
Yeah.
And there's never really any new information for your brain to take in and process. You then mix that or move that over to the frog farm. Your brain is constantly scanning. Where's the next one? Where's the next one? Where's the next one? Oh, it's there. Tack, go. Where's the next one? You are.
I don't know how you frog farmed, but I closed my eyes, hit tab, and frost shock.
No, but it is a more. I would almost say it is more of a predatory experience. Be that looking for the kill, or be that scavenging for berries. There's this very human thing in that kind of farming. But then when it just turns into my inputs don't really matter, I'm just holding W for unit of time to progress and get currency, it's boring. A real good example of that again is bronze balling. Going around, flying, picking up those bronze balls.
For that 10 bronze a ball?
You get about 5k an hour, 5.5.
An hour?
That's what I got.
5k an hour from...
They buffed them when you were in Canada.
From
flying, and you get way more.
Through a load of bronze balls.
Yeah.
Is that all? Fucking horrible.
But
horrible time efficiency.
Here's where it's
Why would I do that when I could raid instead?
And then there's the Giga
I don't
balls.
want to raid.
The Giga balls that give you threads. And again, to anyone, they're like, so the balls give you threads, and the but the I was playing that. I'm like, wow, I've really got into a state of flow with this. In a world where I know, if I go into LFR, there is a chance of sleep. When you're, the sort of micro sleeps that you feel.
The actual death,
driving micro sleeps.
No.
So ideally you don't,
yes.
but you do feel them as little demons that are sort of running, and then you're like, okay, I am entering into micro sleep territory in my drive. It is time to pull over. LFR is totally like that for me. But you see, going around getting the bronze balls with dragon riding. So whenever you pick up a ball,
play the game a little bit.
Yeah, whenever you pick up a ball, you get a vigor, and then what happens is you start to pattern recognition, and now you know where the balls spawn in all of the different zones. So then when you do a whole bunch of balls, in your head, you immediately know there's 5 different directions you could go in. And you're trying to think, okay, well, based on my most recent path, where was I last? Where's more likely to have a high density of balls that have spawned? And you're doing all of this hyper second-to-second grind-oriented decision-making that also, in this case, it's a very real-time form of gameplay because it's dragon riding. It's probably, some of that is the closest to granular gameplay that WoW gets. When I say granular gameplay, I just mean, all of our combat happens sort of with the global cooldown. So when I say granular gameplay, literally, I'm just talking how granular it is. There's not another point to that. But I suppose the more granular it is, I don't know, there's maybe more for your brain to latch on to. But I think that's why
your moment-to-moment inputs actually have some input on impact on what's happening.
And that's why a lot of people, I think, can gulp farm. And then you ask them to do more designed, better content, and they enjoy it less. And I guess that does, it does make me think about people grinding in RuneScape and all of those things. And you just sort of start to think, how much of this high budget that you've put on top of cookie clickers actually keeping people playing as opposed to marketing to them? And that is a scary thought to contend.
Context is very important.
Yeah, context.
Because that's the thing that gets me. And this is
and that's why I'm talking about how the raid, in the context of a farm, a raid is sleepy, but for some reason a bunch of frogs are flying around in circles is not sleepy.
It is. It's literally size of thing.
Yeah.
It's size of thing where you go, well, I'm going to,
size of the loop.
Yeah, so if you... did you ever get the experience where you're playing the single player game and you are finished a segment and you really like the game, but you finished a segment and you can tell there's a pause and it's okay, well, I couldn't be bothered doing this again. I couldn't bother having this whole thing. And this happened to me playing Nine Souls, which is a excellent game, by the way, fantastic Metroidvania, made by Red Candle, the Taiwanese devs behind Devotion, who had they had the Winnie the Whipsy. And their Nine Souls, fucking beautiful game. I highly recommend it. But I finished the boss on Saturday, Sunday, whatever it was. I was I don't have the energy in my brain to do another like whole map segment and like remember everything is and learn all the new enemies and jump and parry everything and get the timing. Because I'm like, I'm fucking tired. I'm going done. It's like that kind of the size of segment thing. And I guess like smaller kind of segments that are easier to repeat and loop are probably better for some grinding for some cases. Whereas for me to like have some input that matters in that kind of size form. So I don't know. I'm basically trying to muse on what it is exactly, because I know this is a little bit of a me issue. Like, I'm not trying to be like, mob remix is dog shit. I actually think, like, from a literal perspective of have they met their design goals, the answer will be a large, we've made a big mess.
Oh, yeah.
Our parts of the mess, great, almost certainly, is the fact that a load of people are fighting and talking shit in chat because I don't want to fucking raid every day. I'm like, well, that's a issue. He's like, yeah, that's a me issue. I don't want to do that boring fucking...
Yeah, but
that zero brain shit.
My point there was,
yeah, I know.
A raid is fundamentally not designed for daily repetitious play.
Well, people are enjoying it all the same because of the context around it, not necessarily for the activity itself.
And how long is that? How long is that actually sustainable for? How long until you immediately, you run into the over-justification effect and people don't want to do that scale of grind again?
Well, yeah, that's why it's a limited time.
Of course,
event.
it's an event.
They'll do
doesn't
it.
have to be
They'll do it until
sustainable.
they're done.
Yeah.
They'll do it until they're done, which is like the kind of the thing that works for it very well. So it's like I'm using like, why was I enjoying it more or less fine before, even though it was a little bit grindy? Why am I enjoying it less now?
Well, it's because...
And I think I have two answers.
Okay.
Answer one is I'm novelty driven, so
Yep.
I run out of things to do. I'm like, I've been in Siege of Orgrimmar. Why the fuck would I go in there again if there's nothing in there for me? Because I've seen everything in there,
and you're not getting a tightly tuned experience.
I'm not having fun in there. So where does the fun come from? The fun comes from getting the numbers, and the numbers going up, and then your gear going up. I'm like, do I care about my gear going up? What's the point? What's the purpose of that? And it is to do the same thing faster. No, thank you. It's the same with M+. I'll do M+ until I get KSM. And then I'll do it if someone's like, do you want to have, Alex, I enjoy M+, like, do you want to go to it? Sure, I'll do it. But like the actual context for me ends once I hit my goal. And
for some
the goal
people,
there is an achievement.
For some people, their goal that is maybe reflected in a Diablo player wanting to progress into the pit is not possible, because there's no equivalent to that sort of content here.
Yeah.
And then I think it's just fundamentally that raids are not designed to be ground out in the way that they are currently done. The content is not made to do that. If you were designing a grind, you would design the grind differently to a raid.
Almost
so that's going to be an issue. I think a problem. I mean, yeah, it's still fun, but it's a question of sustainability, and I think it's a question of like what lessons are drawn from this. Because while it is fun, there has certainly been quite a lot. There's been quite a lot of frustration and drama. At least, like, I mean, I don't have a greatly, like, personally invested position in all of this. I'm trying to, from looking at comments, looking at the Reddit, looking at Twitter, just looking at the discussion, see how well this has landed. And it seems, well, there is a very large win. People want to like it. Yeah. And that's because it has cool ideas. There's a lot of novelty in it. It's a fantastic expansion that it's based on. So that's all great. I think the frustrations are just with what is the identity of this, and then what are the trickle-down effects of that not particularly well identified, or that particularly well formed identity, as I think is mostly expressed by Bronze buying everything. Because I think for Blizzard, they thought, well, normal people could just level up, get the 40k Bronze, or, originally their achievement Bronze, which was like 8 Bronze, and buy the cosmetics, and they'd have a great time. And then for everybody else who, wants to, the raids drop a lot of Bronze, but the upgrades are super expensive. And it's like, you're just playing in another economy. And I think they thought that those two different like player goals or player profiles, like they're using the same currency, but they're almost playing in different economies. But ultimately, that's not worked. Because then I think the people who are doing quests and stuff like that, they're like, wait, they're getting that much bronze for doing that, and it's just a daily grind, and I'm getting barely anything for doing these. And I scrap a level 70 weapon and get like 50 bronze. What? And then they feel like they can't access the way to play the game, and then that's demotivating. Now, if bronze was used for upgrades and you had another currency, one that was like designed towards novelty, like the achievements and like sampling the whole menu, and those achievements were uber rewarding in that, which would mean, yeah, you could grind your raids for that, or you could do the uber rewarding achievement. Either feels strong, and it's on a different currency, so the upgradability of things is completely disconnected from the earning of cosmetics. Then I think you'd have a player economy that wouldn't be fighting with itself as much and causing that sort of, that demotivational, the demotivational thing that you're feeling, and that I think a lot of people who just want to quest and chill would feel when they then look at the bronze and they're like, oh my god, it's that much bronze, and the way to get it is from that. And then for the raiders who are doing the same thing, but with the upgrade costs, especially, vinegar, chili put in the eyes and vinegar in the wound of then your alts don't have a discount. And I think, to me, that's the craziest bit. That your alts don't have a discount on your upgrade. And that's just weird, because it ain't like that in life. And I guess that's why we have this discourse. Discourse, what a word.
Yeah, it's certainly interesting to think about. Because I've never seen, I don't think I've ever seen such a split kind of experience in World of Warcraft. And it comes directly as a result of them going, here's one kind of unifying thing that you can approach however you like. Because at least in the actual game itself, it's a little bit more delineated and not all carried through the same way, which is kind of fun to see that this like kind of crosstalk probably only really matters for a handful of players who are sensitive to kind of the whole system.
See, I'm not
so
sure.
I imagine there's a lot of people who are just like, I'll do my daily raids and it'll be fine.
There's a sampling. There's a sampling problem. It's harder to sample that set of the players.
Yeah, of course.
It's far easier to sample the people, for them to be included in the data, who are heavily invested and are upgrading, because they will tweet about it.
Yeah,
they will. They do. They have, and their points are valid. Like that is the other side of it. Like their points are valid. Like Narissa of WoW had hit like 556, and she said, I don't care, nerf it, please. I got there. It shouldn't be like this. Nerf it, please. And similar people, or people who are in her position who maybe want to play an alt, and that's just not going to happen.
Not a chance. Not a chance. Not with over 500k to upgrade.
Non-response bias, says Techfish. Yeah, that's it. Non-response bias. But then it's like it's dangerous knowledge, knowing what's going on. Like, here's the thing. If you found out about the gulp frogs, that's dangerous knowledge.
Yeah.
Because it then changes your perception of everything else. If you were just innocently there enjoying your quest, you're like, oh, I explored the zone and I got a box. Woohoo!
Yeah, it's...
And then you hear like, oh, they're giving away boxes for free over there, by the way.
Yeah, it's like if everyone's walking around with a bag full of money and you're like, where'd you get that money, dude? They're like, it was the free money. Tap was on for a few hours earlier. Did you miss it? You're like, fuck. Damn. I'm sure there's a little bit of that and you're constantly considering that in
Let's Play says, dude, if you do your dailies in Heroic Raid, you have 70k bronze in one day. Which... Huh?
It's a lot of bronze.
It is. It is. Or if you do 24 hours of bronze balling a day.
That sounds good. You'd have 120 cash.
Manscaped, where are you?
Yeah, by your
there
efforts,
you go.
yeah, just 5K an hour for 24 hours, no problem. That's fine.
It's great. Flying up the Great Wall, flying down the Great Wall. Sometimes you might take a right and go into the Dread Wastes, or maybe you can even go to the Crosserag Wilds, or if you're really feeling spicy, you hop on over to the Vale. It's a world of possibility. Yes, like 70K is a lot. For some doing. I mean, Flatline said it's nowhere near 70K bronze for doing all the daily heroics. Well, daily heroics plus all of the quests.
Heroics? Or,
Well, so the
heroics probably, like, that's a good maybe 40, 50K from just the heroics, I think. Because there's
you're getting like 10K
5
from the
whole
dailies,
raids, like.
and yeah, that's a lot of raids. And I guess that is the thing. If you're doing those and they end up being turned into face wall or face melt, then it is going to be quite like, I've just held W through 5 raids, dude. I remember, ages ago, thinking about like, okay, what if I did a video just like I did every single raid in WoW? I think I did this during the WoD days. There's a lot more raids since then. And I was like 7 hours later, I was shocked how much of the W key I'd held. Because in my head, I'm like, I'll just bang out a few raids. Fantastic. See what I get. Open up my box, do a video. Hey, everyone, I did all the raids. Look what I got. I was like, no. It's like 7 hours. Just running through the Black Temple. Just running.
Oh, those WoD days, you couldn't double jump up a chain then either. Sad.
Aye.
Sad.
If you do everything, okay, so you're like about 50K, 60K a day.
Yeah.
Maybe like 65, I guess. Yeah, so that will mean to max your character, 9 days.
It's like 9 or 10 days.
Now that's 9
it's
or
like
10
9 or 10 days
days
spending 3 to 4 hours doing all the raids on heroic. Assuming you can get into a heroic group, because you need to get into a heroic group, which is going to be a struggle if you're level 70 and don't have gear yet. Which is
45 raids?
Yeah. 9 days of hard. I mean, okay, right. I'll put it this way. Let's be very generous and say it's 3 hours for everything, right? 3 hours, 9 days is 27 hours. That's like 2 good ass indie games you could play.
Or more.
That's like 10 really okay indie games you could play. You could play a whole 9 souls with that time, which is where, like, I'll say where a lot of my problem comes in. This is a very high game time asking mode with very little actual engagement involved. It's just spend your time farming. I'm like, yeah, that's not for me. Very, very much specifically, that's definitely not for me. I don't want that shit. I'd rather do anything that's not, I don't even want to say more productive, but like it's more novel, more unique.
So I suppose the ideal way to enjoy this experience is Mythic Siege of Orgrimmar with your guild.
Probably.
At the end game. I think that's probably the ideal way to do it. Because then you're getting the challenge. That's going to be real engaging. I suppose in my head, I just think like, okay, that's 9 days. What if we turned that in, what if we made some of these things harder, paced it out a little bit more differently, and, maybe it's 2 or 3 weeks. But it's not 2 or 3 weeks of every single day, do every single heroic raid. Because that would take a while. I mean, doing all the LFRs doesn't take that long. Like I was doing that a little bit ago in my DK, and it is hilarious. Oh man, shit melts, and there's always just like 2 gigapumpers who are doing like the whole raid's worth of damage. And like you do get that kind of big old burst of power when you do that. It's just daily lockout. Design's interesting, and I think that there is a pretty robust discussion going on around this. Robust is one of those great words. You can use it for so many things. It's testament to people want to like it or really do like it, but generally, I don't think people, like very few people, I think, want to hate this, right? I mean, I can understand there's frustration, but I think the frustration,
in the same way people want to hate everything else, I think. But yeah,
but I think like. It doesn't. It does not strike me as the usual doomerism. Like or like War Within gets revealed, and people are like, fucking dungeon and 8 raids and 4 zones. Shit game, dead. You know, it's like, this doesn't feel like the spectator sport of fuck WoW forever to me. It doesn't have the tone of that to me. To me, it has the tone of people are frustrated or angry because they want to like it and they find that certain design things frustrate them. And that's a good problem to have.
Better than just fuck this royally for no reason, I think. But it is certainly...
Oh yeah, Night Stalker, yeah. The 15-minute world boss respawns are so jarring compared to modern WoW. If you can... Oh yeah, so like my overall like opinion is stuff's fun and I've been having lots of fun. John. Remember John made that like fucking dodging all this shit Lamau gif of me years ago. Yeah. That's still going, right? So yeah, like I stopped getting rewards at 100,000 plunder. I ended that with 530,000 plunder. I might have been like top 5% of plunder lords.
Nice.
I mean, I wish they would give numbers there because I'd like to know what my percentile is. I should do that with YouTube. Because I notice they do that with OnlyFans. People are like, hey, I'm a top 0.04.
Oh, yeah.
That's so ghoulish. That's so ghoulish. I'm imagining someone like, they log into it on their first day, like, you're within the top 100%. You're the 100th percentile.
But then you get to see that number climb with a green arrow beside it, and you're like, yes. And then
I suppose that's the whole point.
And then you get a red arrow down that goes, you've dropped out of the top 10%. And then you see a picture, it just shows you a picture of low tier god lightning everything.
Are you saying that OnlyFans has gamified jerking it?
Everything is gamified jerking it. Everything's gamified everything.
Oh yeah, it's gacha games.
We live in a gamified hell. Where everything is fucking horrible, but yes.
And that's why Mists of Pandaria is great, because it's an expansion that has good messages.
Yeah. Okay, just
I've loved
all the Pandaren lines about slow down, stop and smell the roses, enjoy everything, enjoy life. Why do we fight? To enjoy the life we have and everything we live in and all the beautiful bits. And then let's make a game mode about it, and let's miss the complete point fucking entirely. They didn't, right? They attempted to have
that is the most video essayist tier
fucking W key.
Matt,
yep.
I'm firing up the ejector seat. You are being launched into BreadTube. Congratulations. You will now mediate the bare knuckle boxing fight between ContraPoints and Philosophy Tube.
Fantastic.
I have no idea why, but I think they don't like each other.
I don't know or give a fuck. There is nothing I care less about than the opinions and going abouts of YouTubers, which is really ironic. Oh dear.
Oh, Mob Remix.
Yeah, Remix is fucking weird, man. It's so weird. I wish I could just turn my fucking brain off and enjoy it in some capacity, but I can't because I'm a weirdo. I'm like,
it's weird. Like I can, because like for me, what it is like, this is pretty fast. I get cool little gems. Peter Yu, who's the developer of Narcissus, has meant that I can actually use that system without ripping my hair out. Yes. Get Narcissus. I don't want to be all like, it makes it playable, but it sort of does. Like, it really blows by default. Like, the amount of gear I have in my character that's better than, like, my bags have gear that's like 50 eye levels better, and I was just like, anyway, then I installed Narcissus, and that's my testimonial. Sign up at narcissus.com/Bellular for 6 months free of Narcissus.
Paid add-ons. Imagine that world.
Oh,
Imagine
no.
if you had to pay for anything in World of Warcraft except the game.
Use our creator code at checkout for 10% more V-Bucks. Tenders.
10%.
They're B-Bucks. Blizzard Bucks.
Oh, Jesus Christ. No, it's B-Balance.
B-Balance.
B-Net Balance.
So, I mean, there's no easy way to sort of draw all of this to a close. But I am very glad that Mop Remix, I was going to say is happening. I'm glad that it's happening. Sure. I basically think it's great. What we were talking to earlier is the rock in a hard place that the devs have now found themselves in, where a lot of players do not like aspects of the grind. Others don't mind. Some people are having a lot of fun because of that, and they, to them, they just log in and they progress for like 4 hours doing all their dailies, and then they're done. But to other people, they're like, I want to play an alt. I'm not doing that for another 9 days. What if I want to play a few? But again, Blizzard will probably say, well, you don't need to literally be 556, and you can stop a wee bit short of that because the power gains are exponential. So like, you're going to be pretty busted soon. So it's an interesting thing. I suppose as we're going through I'm waving towards our topics. They're on a monitor over there.
Yeah, we do have.
We can do these super quick.
Specific stuff.
I've done videos. I recapped it in the news. I know what's going on in Mop Remix. God damn it.
Yeah, fantastic. So this is big buffs.
Huge buffs.
Big, huge, massive buffs.
Humongo. Yes, right. So your daily caches got buffed. They now drop at max level, the greater caches of 1250, meaning you can do all of your daily quests for 8,750 bronze. Very good. And of course, you can do the raid boss thing in LFR. So if you only care about the cosmetics, then, doing that and then getting a character to 70. And of course, as you're getting your character to 70, you're going to be doing your daily quests. If you're doing that on a stable of alts, you will be getting, it will not be like you're doing all the raids, but you'll still be getting plenty. 40k a character, 8.7k a day. So the 8.7k a day is from the 3 quests, but then the normal scenario, normal dungeon, heroic scenario, heroic dungeon, LFG queue, and then your LFR queues also are giving you your first of the day. So you're basically sort of grabbing all of those. Those caches very early on into the experience were buffed by 25%. They also then added the spools, Matt. So I got 1,000 spools by bronze balling. My favorite activity. And that's because the balls drop threads.
1,000.
The greater balls, you get you get a lot of threads. Like seriously, since you've been playing that,
they've added zeros to everything.
Well, no, it's not zeros.
Well, I'm really glad I played for like fucking the guts of 30 hours before I went then.
So you're
any wonder I'm tilted. It's like, oh yeah, fuck you.
So you're not,
what's that? You didn't frog farm because you just started it and then it fucking half fixed mid farm, and now you go away and come back. It's like, oh yeah, all your efforts invalidated, dickhead. Fuck you. Find a cliff.
But Matt, it's about going slow and enjoying the experience.
Yeah, fuck you.
Why does he not sip upon his own medicine?
If you want to enjoy, if you want that to be the game, make that the game. That's where I'm from. It's like, that's not the game. That's not the game you've made.
What is the game they've made?
The game they've made is fuck you, farm heroics. That's the game they've made. Well, now they've also made the game where you
do other things.
You do a load of things that you might as well queue into and fall asleep instead of doing.
I mean, for plenty of people, that's fun.
Yeah, no, not me. Not my.
They want to queue up some dungos.
Yeah, I don't mind doing dungeons.
Progress, get a nice mount.
I don't mind doing dungeons.
The LFR is not that bad because
I have this idea of doing dungeons, right?
Yeah,
and it's where bosses do things that you react to.
I suppose the old 20-second special or instant kill special of the bosses does in fact make it cookie clicker for you.
It's like there's a reason.
And then if it's cookie clicker, because there's not
I'd rather play a version of cookie clicker that has better numbers.
Yeah, because then it's designed to be a cookie clicker.
Yeah. I'd rather, if you want to give me a game where my number go up, give me good number go up,
so
not half-assed number go up.
That's
also mixed with everything else.
It's a case of your mind.
Yeah, are you?
Do you know what this could be solved with? And for once, I am not going to say Cataclysm Heroics.
A gun?
No.
No?
Horrific Visions.
No.
As in I think some horrific visions, or even like honestly a Torghast thing. So whenever I say, "Oh, this will work pretty well with Torghast," I mean there's versions of Torghast that were infinite scale, crazy time. So if you did a version of Torghast that was more Mop Remix, that sped some things up, slowed some other things down, and had like Alpha with infinite scaling, but I mean it's hard whenever your numbers are getting so big. If they're like 5% off, then it's like a very large company can make like $500 million of profit, but if their revenue goes down, it just wipes out all their profit instantly because their margin is actually really tiny. It's almost like that when I suppose you've got to balance exponential curves against each other when you can't completely normalize the rate of growth between them. That being the scaling of your enemies and the scaling of your player, depending on the variance of a run. But anyway, something like this, you could see it working in Torghast, where you're getting bigger numbers, you're going for another run again, and it turns out that's because then it's a roguelite. It's a regular roguelite then. And that actually would be quite fun. That's why I bring in the horrific visions thing. Because if you were asked to farm something, for a lot of people, it's like they'd rather farm something up in a Vampire Survivors or something where it all just feels more calibrated towards that. And I think something where Torghast like could do that. But obviously it's Torghast, so
Maybe something where the breaking of the game has a purpose, or it has something you're breaking.
And if you
as
don't,
opposed to it being run of the mill breaking,
and if you're not trying to kill Mythic Garrosh,
yeah,
because I think it's if you want to kill Mythic Garrosh, then there is a point, and you can really use how powerful your character is to that point, and you might need some of that power.
Yeah, then there's no friction to get there. There's no scale. It's just the same thing until you're there. And you get slightly faster over time as opposed to gradated steps.
Yeah, and a roguelite would tune that differently.
Yeah, a roguelite would tune
do
that differently.
things to mix up the experience.
Like M+. M+ does that, where M+ goes, you grade over time.
The raids need affixes.
The raids don't need affixes. The raids don't need anything because that would be fucking horrible and broken. But like I'm trying to like dig down into the things that are like off about this or different about it.
You're doing a raid and it's Tyrannical Week.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, the boss is twice as strong.
That'll be alright. I'd
Yeah.
rather have Tyrannical Week than fucking Fortified Week. That's for sure.
Fortified Week, Dark Shaman's trash.
Oh yeah, that would be good shit. That would be just. Oh yeah, you've just spent 4 hours in Orgrimmar.
No.
Oh, Orgrimmar. No, Siege.
Like,
No.
Mr. Hazakostas, you'll have to use your old lawyering skills because you're being taken to the Hague.
Indeed.
Oh, Dark Shaman's trash.
Good times. Good times. Good times.
And somewhere where the AoE power of this is specifically good.
Oh, yeah,
At least
it's
one
all
thing
over.
can be said about Mop Remix. It does make Dark Shaman's trash a lot nicer.
All friction removed. I remember back in my day.
I
Dark
do.
Shaman's trash would wipe you.
And it fucking blew.
It was not fun.
Oh, you kill the Scorpion and just the whole raid group's like, okay, we gotta grin and bear it. Gotta do Dark Shaman's trash.
It was no crack. It
No
was
crack
no
at all.
crack, yeah.
Also, more threads. Of course, you're getting 7% perpetual thread per LFR run. You, of course, you might get lucky, get some from the bosses as well. Those can all be done per day. So you can do every single LFR wing per day, and you'll get quite a lot there. And one thing, if you do enjoy the sort of rolling through the LFRs, I mean, my level, I was at level 62, no, it's 60, I think, or something like that. Doing 4 LFRs got me a full level at a 94% cloak. That character's cloak from flying around bronze balling is now at like 100 and like high 100 and something. So if you were doing that like on your characters from the start and also knocking out the rest of your dailies, you would probably find yourself being like level 55 with a 300% cloak or some crazy thing. So that's like a way to to do that pretty well.
Yeah,
also,
I mean, what's the actual ticket is you clear normal raids with auto loot turned off. You loot everything except the bonus experience item. It goes to your mailbox. You loot that at the end after you've got your all of your threads, and then you get multiple levels per thing. Because you end up getting you go to Mogishan vaults and you've got a 70-80% bigger cloak after. So why would you open your experience at the start?
Video game design.
Video games. Look at that.
Well, the problem is
slight
doing it
overlap.
via an item.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
You should just grant all that to character instantly without having to use an item. Then people wouldn't be able to game it like that.
Yeah, but then adding it to the item is probably the only thing they could do. Because they
Probably.
could change up the loot table in this version of Mr. Badaria, but they probably couldn't, or this version of Mogishan Vaults or whatever else, but they probably couldn't change XP values and suddenly give XP values naturally from a mob manually, which is really weird. I'd hate to work on World of Warcraft. It feels like it must be a hellscape nightmare.
It would be, I wonder what like the onboarding process for new technical staff is.
I think it is just you throw them into a pit and say, if you survive, enjoy your job.
Like, okay, so look, here's the deal. 10 years ago, it would involve a lot of whiskey. Because of new company policies, you now just have to be not drunk and depressed.
Yeah,
as we onboard you to, this function has its roots in 1997.
Yeah, we can't say here's a load of alcohol, but here's a hip flask. Here's a Blizzard
Why, no,
branded
it's
hip
California.
flask. Yeah.
Oh, no, right. They just must have like a bin full of gummies. And then, it doesn't matter that the code is old and spaghetti. You're just like, oh, I'm on an adventure. Where am I going to go?
Your experience with edibles is something fucking different, I tell you.
I'm just imagining, if you were going right into the rabbit hole of the code base of World of Warcraft. It would be crazy.
I think I'd just start screaming and crying, to be honest.
That's probably the typical response.
Yeah.
And the final thing, Matt, and you, I know, you'll be pleased. You'll see this as a real mark of stability, and this will really give you hope for the future. This, Matt, is the politics of hope, and it is our final addition, our amendment that was made, which is you can get. They've increased the cap from 200,000 to 10 million, Matt.
Cool.
And that means you can just keep going.
Cool.
And you'll be thrilled.
That's fun.
Yeah.
I won't do that, but I'm sure people will. And they'll have a good ass time.
Mythic Garrosh. Let's see. Before your sauna, after your bulletproof coffee, but before your ice bath, that's when you do your Mythic Garrosh for optimal results.
Perfect.
Like a true Giga gamer.
Fantastic.
Like Andrew Huberman playing World of Warcraft and shagging 18 women at the same time.
Is that all?
How does he fit Mythic raiding Garrosh into his schedule? Nobody knows.
Buys a boost. Buys a boost. Easy clap.
Of course he does.
Efficient.
That's what the AG1 money's for.
Absolutely. 100%, yeah.
You could probably afford your bar to do it too.
100%.
Speaking of
don't talk about it.
rather cooked people.
Talk about it. I don't want to think about it.
Yeah, Barra just made a tit out of himself on Twitter talking
Really?
about remakes.
Wow, what a surprise.
Yeah.
What a surprise.
He does seem like a terminally foot and mouth man.
I saw Flex respond to him and talking about impressed or jealous he was of the ability to bait him. Like, yeah, that's about right. That's right. So LinkedIn posters are built different. They are built.
Oh, he was built for LinkedIn. He seems like someone who's went into LinkedIn, but then LinkedIn's came out with him.
Oh yeah.
It's
he
a bit
he
like
didn't leave
in
the
a
LinkedIn at the door.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, in a Ghost Adventures episode, where things, of course, they're not all going good, and maybe one of the boys, say Aaron Godwin, maybe is that his name, Goodwin? Maybe it is, whatever. But he leaves with a demonic attachment, then he goes back to his parents' house, and the attachment fucking jumps off and starts spooking his parents.
Dear.
That's what being a LinkedIn poster's like.
Yeah.
Great. The only way I've been able to explain LinkedIn culture is the paranormal.
Yeah.
If you don't use LinkedIn,
Don't.
good.
I'm like, it's not worth it.
LinkedIn is.
It's not worth it. Like you may end up with a 6-figure middle management job. It's not worth it. Just work at the chippy. You'll at least have your soul.
Nah. I used to work in a chippy. Don't work in a chippy.
No, don't work anywhere.
Because chips are good. Don't ruin them for yourself.
Don't work anywhere. Working, was it the Idolmaster girl has on her shirt? It's
what?
Working kills you. You die if you work.
What?
We're going into old anime memes, my dude. You die if you work on a shirt. Fantastic.
So
Come on,
that's what's happened.
yeah,
There have been buffs. However, to many people, there are not enough buffs.
yeah.
There are, however, there's a terrible travesty, Matt. 200 remix exclusive weapons are not purchasable from a vendor. You should write to your local senator. Fix this grave injustice. I mean, it is actually kind of unfortunate. Some of these weapons look really, really cool. And Wowhead, so Wowhead, they were compiling things. I know they've covered it. I don't know if they were doing the groundwork or if they are basing that. If they're like doing a collation. But whatever way it is, their articles are a really good place to go and check this stuff out. But yes, basically, loads of them. Models that you can't get.
Yeah, such as these different Sha boys.
Indeed.
I like the Great Sword of Pradsfall. It was one of like it's one of the weapons I remember getting on my bloody camp and like, this is a cool raid weapon. I'm gonna use this forever. And then I kind of did. It's very, very good.
So yeah, there's that, and there's a lot of them. 200 plus.
Yeah.
So
there's
it would be
checklists.
Yeah, I think a great way to do this is the arsenals. Remember with the time rifts. With the jingoist stuff, instead of every single thing being a separate purchase, you could just buy a bag of things. So I think that would be great. Again, like, yeah, some of those different blades, I don't know what that poker's for. It's like a truncheon. Yeah, it's like a truncheon.
That's a dagger, mate.
What that?
That's a dagger.
Is it a dagger?
Look at the hilt cards. That's a dagger.
Oh yeah.
That's that's one of those kunai style daggers.
For my angle, it just looked like a blunt metal pole.
What do you call them? I can't mind. But
a
sai, that's it, a sai. It's a sai here. It's a very big sai.
So
go get your spreadsheet.
There's
and go,
those.
Farm those out.
So Blizzard maybe have a think. The other stories are
Too busy nerfing frogs.
Are sort of less. They're basically, here's the deal: frog farmers were rolled back to 25k stamina and 2.5k of every other stat.
Yeah.
And if you did a lot of farming, just a little bit of farming, you could be not rolled back, but you would not be eligible for the 40k.
I see.
Does your 30 minutes count? No?
It would have if I was far enough ahead.
Okay.
My cloak was pretty weak.
So you were able to get the 40k for free?
I think so. I haven't gotten to get it.
I see.
Because I have no reason to visit Nostwin.
Fair. So the other side of this is there's people who are saying like, guys, that you're using buckshot and I just got hit. I didn't do that much, Chief. Don't get me. Yeah. So as always, policy at scale equals problems.
Yeah.
So wahoo, that's all very cool and good. It's happened. The ship has sailed. Also, almost all farms have been nerfed. Of course, they should be nerfed. Now, to some people, a mob farm like this can actually be more fun than doing the raids repeatedly, if they are fast enough, which then makes it worth it in the monkey brain. But they're gone. Wait, is the troll farm still going?
There's probably a bunch of farms still going. I don't know.
Surely the troll farm's dead now.
Surely he says.
Hyperspawning is basically whenever the spawn rate. So, back at the start of an expansion like Kata. Was it introduced in Kata? I think it might have been.
I couldn't tell you.
In an expansion like Wrath or TBC, or of course, the original game, stuff just had its spawn rate. And that could mean a lot of fighting for spawns. So they ended up changing the game. The more things are killed, the more they're spawned. Sometimes even to the point where killing one thing will literally force another spawn. So that's called a hyperspawn. And that basically is where mobs are being killed at such a ridiculous rate. And then people are using the 4+4 method. 2 groups of 4 people, which means 8 people can loot a mob instead of 5. And that just absolutely, it is mad. It is gassed to the tits, Matt. Anyway, so
pure gas time.
They are just knocking all that stuff down because fundamentally it's not the gameplay that they want. I don't know. I get them being nerfed. I personally kind of wish this was on a weekly lockout, but you maybe got triple.
Mate, why are you so fucking weekly pilled? Like,
Because I'm trying.
buy you back on your to-do list.
I'm
So I
trying.
would just wake up and check your to-do list. It's like, oh, it's weekly day. I get to go open my vault and I get to do my fucking frogs and my raids.
Wednesday's the best day of the week,
Oh,
guys. We gotta
Jesus.
open our box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate arbitrary time restraints. Can't wait to do my dailies in Blue Archive after I end stream.
Yeah, you fucker. Go play your weeb game. I'll probably play Total War, which is definitely just another case of clicking dudes to get more dudes. Or maybe Hearthstone Battlegrounds. 80 hours played.
I saw
8-0.
you were playing and I walked past your office earlier and I laughed. I was like, oh no.
It did it in a break.
Oh no, he's gone.
It's fine. It's been good for productivity. Sometimes I'll just be like, okay, I'm just going to like do a good fucking 90-minute session. And I'll...
It's been good for productivity. 8 hours of Battlegrounds. What a great day. Excellent. Fantastic day. Beautiful. Oh my god. Yeah,
It's good though, dude. I've got all of our videos marketed until next week.
That's very good.
Other than the news, because it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah. I'm sure it'll happen.
As featured in 007 Tomorrow Never Dies.
It's time to make the news.
So, Holly, Ian, Co, like if you guys could sort of share notes just so we can like know the news before it happens, it'd be so handy.
It would be, yeah, mess.
Yeah, I should get a little, print out of Elliot Carver and just like, as a joke, put it in the wall.
Definitely should, yeah. That'd be a good idea. That'd be great.
Unfortunately, Tomorrow Never Dies is a fairly mid Bond, if I remember correctly.
Never seen it, can't tell you.
So yeah, there's nothing else to talk about because this is all old.
Yeah, it's all old
you're in
stuff.
Canada news. There's really not much else to say. The Word of Salvation got killed.
Yeah,
I mean, by killed, I mean it wasn't turbo broken. Because there's always the like,
Ward was pretty broken. Like.
what's the right version of broken? This is the other
Ward
side
was
of the line.
pretty broken. Like,
So they've done that, and the cadence of changes. Now it is a Monday. Let me go to Wowhead. Nope. There are short stories, but there are
no changes yet. Wow.
But they have confirmed that world bosses cannot directly drop mounts in Mob Remix. So that's a blue post as of 4 minutes ago. Well, Squishy's article was 4 minutes ago. So
It is about time
there
for
you
them
have
to do stuff. Yeah.
So
Searing Light, Vindication, and Lifestorm. That's it.
yeah.
Jeez, oh, it is straight up just,
Stretch Troy.
you like take one down, pass it around, and 10 bottles of beer on the wall. It's that just same thing of, oh yeah, well, there's the number one thing is dead, number two thing. Number two thing is dead, number three thing. And it's all based on the same things that are just like, yeah, what if we just have loads of things that's like gigascale? Nice. Well done. Good job.
Yeah, but it's fun.
Yeah, it is.
Like that's the thing. Like using these gems is great. Whenever you get pull a bunch of dudes, turn into a lightning ball, kill them all, awesome. And like that's the side of this that I've really enjoyed.
Yeah.
And I guess it's like if I could take my this character into imagine Torghast, but it's a little more Dynasty Warriors. As in it is just smash them up and don't think too much until the specifically like delineated this is where you should think now bits. Man, you mix that stuff together and you're having a time with all those mechanics. And that's why I wish that there was like a Horrific Visions like thing or a Torghast like thing, but obviously that's totally beyond scope because you need way more designers.
Shadowlands remix soon.
Let's go.
High levels of doubt there. Unfortunate. So yeah, that's the new busted tactic.
Actually,
what?
I am all for it, but it has to be a shitpost.
Yeah.
Like the actual execution of Shadowlands remix has to be a shitpost.
Of course, yeah. Of course.
Yeah. So if they hit that, it could be 10 out of 10 redeemed. It's maybe a bit much.
A good start to the redemption, right?
So essentially, there we have it. The situation appears to be stabilized. Will the patient make a full recovery? We don't exactly know.
I think the patient's fine.
I think the patient is
I think the
mostly
patient is fine, and most people are just really super worried over a bunch of scratches that look pretty rough.
Is that you earlier?
Yeah. Like, so I'm not concerned about Mob Remix as a whole. I'm mostly considering my own experience with it, which is really kind of scuffed. This has not been a case of, well, this game is so dead.
Yes, you properly played early.
It's over. It's forever. I'm like, I was having fun and I'm not having fun. Why? Oh, the design's kind of scundered all over the place. And whatever, like, the end game, like, gearing experience hasn't been compelling for me whatsoever, because it's just throw a billion bronze into your gear and then become OP. I'm like, that's no crack. Where's the curve? Where's the where's the game design experience? And that's the kind of thing. It's just not there. It's literally not there. It's not there by design.
Well, they didn't get enough iterations in testing. It's kind of this is hard to test.
Yes. It's like and a lot of it comes down to, like, I think, how do I describe it? How do I describe it? I don't even know. It's kind of funny because there's so much context that it's like connecting back to in my head, where I keep thinking about the things that are like kind of off about it, and I think about how the cloak is clearly the centerpiece, and it's not even that much your power. It's like none of your power comparatively to what your fully upgraded gear looks like. So you go, could they have knocked 100 item levels off the gear scaling? And suddenly would this be a lot less scundered? Because you'd lose you'd lose 6 or 7 steps off the thing, and then buff the cloak to compromise. Is cloak farming supposedly a thing? It's kind of not, because it's so dwarfed by your like gear scaling. So like one of the things I keep thinking about is gear scaling seems to have been something they didn't really account for quite as much as they had expected to, or maybe they kind of just went, "Fuck it, it'll do. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens, and we'll work around it." As opposed to, we'll try to design this experience. And I feel like that also because the whole like the intention kind of seems all over the place, and it doesn't really quite feel right. But then that connects to me contextually to the fact that level scaling has been a massive issue with this, in terms of the design experience feeling like anything vaguely there.
369 G's.
Like, why am I playing at level 70? Well, that's a fucking rookie mistake. Why should I just be playing level 20? Obviously.
What?
Why would I not just roll alts? Because level 20s are stronger than 70s. And it's like that.
Yeah.
And like, I don't mind a broken game that's really silly broken sometimes. But there has to be, but it has to be there has to be a fun in the madness. And because this is the hyper serious, everyone's farming for all their shit, this game seems to be it's taken seriously all the time. Because it shows itself off as serious.
This is the World of Warcraft, man.
This isn't like playing dive kick with someone, or like playing Sailor Moon S with someone, where you're laughing how dumb it is. Maybe you should be, but it's that kind of thing where like it doesn't feel right to me. And then like all of those scaling issues are so connected to the actual game itself, where you're like, okay, well, why is nothing ever balanced? Because they're doing their best with scaling, but it's not great. Or like, level scaling, like why do I get weaker when I level up? It's like those are problems that are like consistent. And so I think like specifically,
the solutions are hard, because you don't want to rubber band things together too tight. You're like, oh no, now the mobs have skill based matchmaking.
Yeah, so like specifically for me, it's that case of, man, this is, to me, and dare I say it, literally like a bad game.
Oh dear.
But it doesn't matter, because it's a good experience for so many good reasons, and that's perfectly fine. But it's like, it feels like they didn't bother. Didn't bother is a hard thing to say, because it clearly is like a gargantuan effort to have so much mathematics actually work across the entire team, especially when you're inheriting systems and we've been through stat squishes, because I think the game hasn't been the same since stat squishes. So clearly, like, whatever has happened with like the actual how the game is mathematically oriented is too big for them to change, to overhaul, to make easier to handle. It's just a continual like kind of thorn in the side of the game overall due to its size, which you don't find like other games run into that much, but then how many games are that old and how many games are that mathematical in how they're actually designed. It's a thing of like when when you play an action game and the enemies just have twice as much health as you feel they should, or like you play a hard mode and it's like way extra health or way too much damage, or you're like you find you've got like 3 attacks and one of them just does like 20% more damage. You're like, well, this is just completely scundered. Like, you can't design a good experience mathematically through all this. And MOP was at a time where gameplay wasn't. They started to throw more gameplay in, because before MOP, gameplay didn't exist. Realistically, it was you just ran over mobs.
It existed.
Barely. You ran over mobs most of the time. And MOP, they started to add more things. They added more actiony elements to it, right?
Oh,
that's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, sorry. Those, yes.
That's what I'm trying to say. But they weren't really heavy enough. And obviously, it's still pretty dated comparatively. So it just kind of feels like, it feels like it's just not really all that well put together. Even though the idea is great, and it's like, hey, we've implemented Diablo kind of cosmetic farming and upgrade farming and internal power. That's all like a great experience to people who like it. But it is also really messy. In a way that Plunderstorm kind of wasn't.
Yeah.
Plunderstorm had some balance issues, but Plunderstorm worked. You could tell the design worked.
Yeah, it was more tight. It was more tightly scoped.
Yeah, it was way simpler, and it didn't have insane amounts of existing World of Warcraft mathematics to work through. They could clearly start with scratch with all of their numbers, all their stuff, and go, here you've got this much health, the level scaling, you've got 10 levels.
The version of this that happens on a different tab, like Plunderstorm did. I mean, obviously that's just how the UI's hooked up, but you know what I mean, right? It's like, this is just a different version, because this is a normal Dragonflight server.
This is literally Dragonflight, but you're put onto...
Like, that's insane.
Yeah, you're put onto a different instance of Pandaria.
Like, that is insane. Mm-hmm. Like, this is the live game that we play on our mains.
Nuts.
But with some buffs. Or, some modifiers.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, even that it works...
It's hacked together really well. For what it is.
And I guess it's that thing. Something doesn't need to be a good game. Like, say, Plunderstorm. If I was rating that, as some professional reviewer, how good is this as an entry into the Battle Royale genre? You wouldn't be rating it super highly.
Solid 7, like.
Yeah.
Solid 7. Where's all the mechanics? But it's cool.
This is the thing. Well, for me, as an experience, I know a lot of people, for them, it was just, I need to go through these motions until I get 40,000 stuff for my rewards. I mean, I got 520,000. I was playing it just for the fun.
Yeah, I didn't play it even enough to get to 40, but I really, really liked it. But that's kind of indicative of how I play stuff anyway.
It was more tight and more bounded.
Yeah.
More tight and bounded, which, it means... So, as a BR, is it the best BR ever with the most replayability? No, absolutely not. It would need items... It would maybe need classes. It would need just fundamentally more mechanics and stuff. So if it came out and those mechanics were a game, I think unless it was trying to pull a battle bit and be like, hey, we're going back to simple, screwed. But as an event, I thought it was fantastic. So with MOP Remix, like, I think it's a better event than it is a game, and that's kind of okay because all it has to be is an event. And I suppose whenever people say, oh, this is FOMO, why are you taking it away? This is not sustainable.
No, not
the
at all.
Player counts won't be sustainable for your daily.
Well, I actually think it would be sustainable enough, but it would need to be considered like locked off in this mode. People need to be like, it could be as a one of many things you can do, but it would be like a natural
Season of Mists of Pandaria remix.
No, thank you.
Hello, welcome to World of Warcraft. We have 18 different versions. So, I mean, if this was a full game, you'd have more gems of different types.
Yeah.
You'd have more of a lot of that stuff. You maybe wouldn't have the weird bronze thing going on where it's multi-purpose. But it doesn't have to be that because it's not a full game. It's just an event mode. And for what it is, for me, it's like, it's been like a very solid 8. And for me, a lot of that's just been because I really like Pandaria. Now, and in fairness, like, it's a novel way to gear and progress a character, and I'm enjoying that systemic novelty. I'm enjoying being able to turn into a lightning ball or a Chi-Chi or any of those things. So those are good. Those are novel. Certainly, there's maybe lessons from some of those abilities that you could carry into other places. I don't know. I think-
Almost certainly.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of these would be perfect for delves.
I guess that's the thing. You know, Mop Remix, in a way, it as a story has outstripped it as a game because there's been, you know, so many changes, so many waves of hot fixes, and a lot of people are like, no, we need more, or no, those people are wrong, we don't need more.
We have differences of opinions.
Yeah, it's just been a whole thing. I suppose when I sort of used, you know, a bit pithily discourse earlier, like that's I guess kind of me recognizing that this whole thing is a bit of a piss take anyway.
Oh yeah, almost.
Because you know the way it's like there's people talking shit online and then it turns into the discourse and you're like, oh, I couldn't be bothered anymore. It's not fun. Yeah, so I think my takeaway is fuck it all, go have fun. Go have fun. Pandaria is great. And if you want to turbo grind, then do that. Yeah, do that, I suppose. I guess it... Because if you were turbo grinding for the cosmetics, but then you weren't getting any more powerful because you're not getting the upgrades because you're getting the cosmetics instead, then that is breaking a little bit of... I mean, no, not a little bit. It is breaking the fundamentals of reinforcement.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it is very much saying you can have your carrots or your chocolate. So that's... Yeah, that's like an interesting angle. I think my TLDR is if they did this with two currencies and that those two currencies could then be balanced toward their own needs, we would not be having most of this discussion because the gulp frog farming would just be people progressing their raid upgrades a bit faster and it wouldn't really have as much of a knock-on effect.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah. I'm interested in seeing if they do this again.
I really hope they do.
It
Absolutely
feels like
hope they
a no-brainer to do this, but you know, a little bit more aligned with whatever vision they have. Although it will be interesting whatever way it comes out because this is, you know, whatever they say about first impressions.
It's also
the first impression is that this is a big giga farm. You go in and one-shot bosses and get your bronze, and you get loads of bronze, and then you're out.
But you know what
Interesting
also
to
is?
see if they have any, if they have the courage to, if they have the courage to kind of push it the other way, or if they've decided that this is more fun, and there's more engagement this way, and they'll tool it towards being more of this kind of, you know, busted farm fest, but with like a better designed progression to get there.
It's also the pilot episode.
It is.
That's the other thing. This is the pilot episode of this kind of content.
Maybe it'll be
And
cancelled. Maybe they'll air it out of order. No.
So I think that if they're doing this again, and more importantly, they know it's coming, and maybe they know it's coming a year off. Now it's a different, you know, it's a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
I think. Whereas I think a lot of this, our time scale is very much months. So if they can have time to recoup, time to plan, even if they had the same amount of time again, number one, so many of the tools that they've, you know, whatever they've got to build this, they already have them. And that means that more of their time can be spent in polish. I think one thing that really sets a lot of games apart is how long does a developer... And the reason why this doesn't happen is because no one can afford it. So there's lots of games. Like, I'm sure Team Cherry could have released Hollow Knight 2 like 18 times already.
I think the fan is called Hollow Knight Silksong.
Silksong
Put respect
works.
on that name, motherfucker.
I have the feeling, though, that they are just playtesting, iterating it. You know, polish.
No, it's actually been finished for like 5 years, and they're just like chilling there. They're just laughing. They're just like watching every show and like, I've got it right here.
It's like
just
so
holding the gold master, laughing at people, but like,
so
this
many.
is the game you want.
So many of those games, they are, I think, the 6 months at the end where it comes together, followed by 6 more months of making it really, really, really good by polishing things.
Yeah, go watch the talk that that John Johannes gave on Hi-Fi-Rush at GDC.
Yes,
Go watch
that's
that
it.
talk because that guy's sitting there and he's like, yeah, the game was basically like playable in prototype within the first like 9 months, and it was just from then on it was just how can we marginally improve the experience? How can we slightly improve? Where's the polish? Where's the not polish is like on visuals, but like where's the minuscule minor improvements we can consistently make as we build the game out? Because they knew what the game looked like so quick, and they just kept trying again, iterating, and that's why the game is so buttery smooth and beautiful and everywhere.
Take all of that iteration time and replace that with cosmetics.
Yes!
And a battle
cosmetics.
pass.
I love cosmetics.
And it's just to say that...
Oh, I fucking hate video games.
It's just to say that it's a lot of those things, like having the time to ship it when it's right. And also not completely burn out yourself and your team. That is a luxury that live games don't have. It's even interesting whenever Fortnite was at its first peak before they went into brand land as heavily. Just the reports from people who are working at Epic, and they're like, this is a goddamn death march. We basically have a whole office of, we're just all grinding infinitely, and the grind will never end because there isn't a ship date. It's forever now. And that's where I think, for live service game devs, it's a challenge, because this, with 6 more months of iteration, maybe they make some different decisions, maybe they reverse some things, try some other things out. Yeah, it'll probably look way better.
6 months, that's $600,000.
Because I like this, and I like this, and probably in much part because of the vision that they're trying to execute on. So if they had more time to hone that and get their vision right, I'd probably like it even more. But then, of course, the problem is this is a live game, and it has to fit right now. It can't ship any later, because then it'll be shipping conflicting with War Within, and they can't have that, because that would really be a bit of a mess. So I suppose as well, it's you do have to throw a bone to the developers who are working on live games. They just have problems that I think a lot of others don't. I mean, that said, you may as well be working on a live game if your experience of game development is, oh dear, Ken Levine changes his mind every month. We've
rebuild Judas.
Yeah, oh no, we've scrapped BioShock Infinite 18 times. Let's go. Oh my god. I wonder if we'll ship season 18 of this live service we've been running in our company. So yeah, I'm not saying that non-live service AAAs have it good either, but if it's a live service, well, the train can't stop.
Yeah, do you want to hear the fun thing? No one has it good, because the train can't stop for AAA except the money is on the train. So it's oh yeah, sorry, you're releasing. Why? But you're releasing, but our game's not. You're releasing. We're dead then. Yeah. Too bad.
And that leads to cuts in features. And it leads,
and also in staff and headcount.
And, oh, of course, yeah.
And game industry, general health, and game.
So you'll have the way it'll work is first the nice to haves will be cut, and if it's a design thing, maybe that's complexity, additional systems. If it's art, maybe it's nice to haves. That sort of thing where, can I explore a little bit more off the beaten path? And when I do, will I have any nice bespoke art assets? All of those little things, those are some of the first things to go. And then it's your little levels of systems and stuff. And then it's your polish. And it's whenever you don't get time to polish, that's already after, that usually I think is already after the game has been cut to the bone. And now you're polishing the bit that's left. Which, I mean, hey, is important. If you've been cut to the bone, you probably do want to polish that off and, have it be safe.
Yeah, polish it clean off.
So, it's interesting, I think. How the sausage is made in this case very much impacts the sausage.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you telling me that there's process involves results are...
Nope.
Put
the meat in the skin, in the oven, in the mouth. Done. Next sausage.
In the oven?
In the oven? I don't know why I said that.
Oven. I'm man for pan frying my sausages. So.
At least you're not putting your 6 packs of Denny's in the microwave.
Nope, not Denny's. Cookstown sausages.
Sorry, Cookstown sausages.
Yeah, we buy local, you see. Fucking hell. All right.
I suppose what he was doing, I've forgotten his name.
I'm not going to say it. But
I know that. No, I've forgotten it. Was he actually steaming the sausages?
Probably, yeah.
It's
With the
an apocryphal
water,
an apocryphal tale from Matt's hometown of a man who for lunch would put his packet of sausages in their sealed plastic wrap in the microwave. And I suppose you know what, he was steaming them like a dumpling.
Yeah.
He was just beyond the curve.
He was beyond the curve.
Yeah.
That was a heavy gentleman. Heavy gentleman. Spilling over the side of his motorbike heavy.
Good. Maybe that could be stabilizing, like some gyroscopic shit.
Maybe, who knows? Maybe, who knows? Who knows?
Though actually having a bit of momentum behind you could be useful in some of those bikes. My dad is a tiny man. He's like a stick insect. And he has these bikes. They're like 18 times his size and 5 trillion times his weight.
Brutal.
So anyway, we've talked about World of Warcraft.
Have we? Fuck.
And
That's
remix. And more importantly, game development are the fundamental things that underpin this thing we're interested in. So I think it's all fun. Fundamentally, yes, there's a lot of talking around things that are negative and problems. I mostly find this to be fascinating because when you have critical player feedback and community discourse and stuff, that is like the signal of, oh, this is interesting, and it's even better when people disagree. Because if people disagree, then okay, neither side's 100% in this referendum.
You can fight then.
Well, some would say fight. Some would say you got to talk about it.
You can put
work out what's going on.
You can put nails and glass inside your gloves and start swinging like. That's always been my plan. How do I get away with? Let's not finish that. Let's not finish that.
Oh, that's it. I'm just like having a nice beer watching the world burn, and you're like, it's time to live my best life.
I'm out there swinging like, oh, I will go down with pain.
Oh, dearie me. Well, there you go. Maybe, Matt, if you had a ward of salvation, you'd find more success in the
There
battlefield.
is no salvation where I'm from or where I'm going. I can tell you that for free.
Well, they taught me about a fella who can help with that sort of thing at school.
Didn't tell me about him. I went to the Protestant school. I was told I'm grand no matter what. It's all right. He's got me, and I have to say none.
Right. One of a tiny tale from Belfast that was just walking down the road and hearing, because we have street preachers, but like it's a very sort of angry Northern Ireland style of street preacher, and one of them was like, Jesus Christ has the evidence. So his thing was like, all of your sins, he has the evidence, and only he can remove the evidence. And that's the bit where I'm like,
I don't know.
That is a bad look, my man.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know about that. I think a microwave does plenty of damage to hard drive. Like
he was just fully like, only Jesus can remove the evidence of your sins. I'm like, man,
can you?
But like, it wasn't. It was just like, I think I have several theological questions for you. I don't think that's how it works in the book, man.
I mean, you can also just use bleach in a bathtub, like. Be all right.
Yeah, and thankfully my Catholic school also had a really good chemistry department.
Fantastic.
And I'd say my chemistry teacher was a prime Breaking Bad candidate.
Mine was a fucking card. Someone broke a mercury thermometer on the desk one time, and he just bolted out of the room. And then, like a minute or two later, he came back, but he didn't even open. He opened the door a tiny bit to talk to us through it.
No elixir of life for him.
And I'm like, you fuck, ooh. Oh, we learned what he was like that day. And we're like, oh, you fucking card.
That's really embarrassing.
Yeah.
You would never live that down.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what did I do? I abandoned a classroom full of children to the mercury.
To be fair, we were like 16, so whatever. We deserved to die, but God. Anyway.
Actually, the last factoid I found out, actually, they succeeded in alchemy.
Have they made the Philosopher's Stone?
No, but it was, well, not that far, but synthesizing gold.
Cool.
It was a tiny number of atoms, and it is absolutely not applicable at scale in any way, shape, or form.
All the same, I feel like if you synthesize gold, you would like immediately be like, "It's me. I am him. I have done it."
It is time to whip out the Emerald Tablet and get going.
That's
and on that occult bombshell, ladies and gentlemen, friends and allies, don't know why I did that. We will be back in just
4 days.
Just 4 short days.
That's not many days.
They will be short days because it's somehow only.
They'll be long days. It's summer.
But they'll still be short.
Yeah, they'll be short.
Hearthstone Battlegrounds, a Blizzard Entertainment product.
They'll be short because I'm over 30 years of age, and now every day lasts 2 hours. It's great.
Yeah, that one spooks me. So that's that. I'm going to go and watch a spooky Peter Capaldi on the television. And you're going to do your Blue Archive dailies.
I'm going to do Blue Archive dailies. I'm going to finish the final volume of the story tonight, just in time for the Volume 5 raid tomorrow. And I'm also going to continue watching Girls Band Cry, because that is some good-ass fucking anime.
Very good.
Good-ass shit.
May your banners be bountiful.
I'm not rolling.
I think that's how it works.
I'm not rolling. It's fine. I'm not rolling until fast and like later. Yeah, GBC. Yeah. Game Boy Color is a great anime. Fucking fantastic. It's GBC, so people call it Game Boy Color because they're insane. But yeah, nothing quite like. It's Pride Month. Go watch Girls Band Cry. That's all I'll say. Talk about Girls Band Cry for you. And no, I haven't watched Spy X Family because I'm a lazy shit. But yes, I think that's us for
too
today.
many animes.
There's far too many. Because I've been watching more, and it's like I don't have enough time in my fucking life. Finally finished Symphogear J. Was like, this is the. It turns June, and suddenly everything I'm watching is just full of gay females. Like, incredible. This is anime. Fantastic.
There you go. The anime is in sync with.
It sure is.
With the events calendar.
It sure is. Fantastic.
Right. Well,
why are you just saying, Matt? What have I done? What did I say? What did I do? What did I say? It's fine. That's fine.
Well, I met a guy in town who says he knows the guy who has the evidence. So.
Oh yeah. Oh god, there's a photo of me from this weekend. I think it's true. I've watched Girl Lagging. My fucking surname's Lagging. I've watched that shit multiple times. I've watched that shit over and over. I love it.
They made one just for you.
Yeah. And just perfect timing.
We're literally being played out.
Yeah, we're being played out.
Great, we are being Chris judged.
Absolutely. So with that, we will be gone.
There's a Hoover.
Goodbye. Go away.
I don't think you guys can hear it, but we can.
Yeah.
Is it?
Oh, they can hear that. Yeah,
They can hear it.
Okay, sweet.
Some lovely, and we are so considerate, Matt. We've even timed this so they have some lovely white noise to fall asleep to.
I will not answer that question. Oh yeah, New Monogatari. I need to read that. I've got the novels.
Anyway, I am sunburned because I went to Emerald Park, very good. New roller coasters, very, very good. Fianna Force, fantastic roller coaster. And on that note, ride the back seat of Cú Chulainn. It is surprisingly spicy. And good night. They won't. Some people will know maybe what that means. Maybe. Any fellow thusies out there?
Thusies.
Sometimes it's what the roller coaster enthusiasts are called.
But it's the enthusiast word. Thusie could be anything. You could be a thusie for, soft drinks. You could be a thusie for...
That's the problem. My interest in planes and military vehicles, unfortunately, also, like those same worms, they hit the roller coasters as well. So now I'm like, oh, what ride system's that? Oh, what kind of harness is that? Oh, that's a good harness. Yeah. And the Fianna Force, an invert with a lap bar harness and a really comfortable one, a lot more similar to Velocicoaster. It's very good. Goodbye.
Fantastic. We end stream on whatever that was, and also in chat a nice gay bulge reference. Fantastic. Goodbye.